Thanks for watching Diceborn. If you're interested in diving deeper into the political intrigues and mysteries of our series, there's a handy reference sheet with character descriptions and family trees in the video description, along with links to other bonus content. For more behind-the-scenes extras, consider supporting us on Patreon. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Diceborn Secrets in Stained Glass. This is the fifth and final episode of our little murder mystery miniseries. Although it's not really a murder mystery anymore. It's it's like an attempted murder mystery.
She could still die. We're not able to still die.
Yeah, she could still die. From us here at the 17th Shard, which we are playing using Crafty Games' Mistborn Adventure Games system. We're also using some of the content from their new upcoming supplement, the Golden Mandate, which hopefully we have more information coming out in the summer about it. This is the last episode of this series, and so I'm not going to be nice about it. Don't watch this episode unless you've watched the others first. Just go watch the others. Please. 3
and 4 were pretty good. They're really good episodes.
3 and 4 were pretty good. I'm Ben, and I play Lucius Lacal. And I'm joined by Verónica.
Hello, you'll know me as Cheyenne Sedai on the Discord and forums, and I am playing Eliane Venture.
I'm also joined by Ian.
Hello, I play Sylvain Hadriel. And I'm not nervous at all.
What do you have to be nervous about? Sylvain's doing
You'll
great.
See. You will know when we get to that point.
Excellent.
Matt knows what he has done to me.
I'm also joined by Alyx.
Hello, you probably know me as Feather, and I am playing Dear Venture, the ever lovely, ever wonderful.
And I'm also joined by Eric.
Hey, you know me as Chaos, and I'm playing Jenna Techiel, who is good. She's very good. She's nice. She was very nice at the end of the last episode.
Very nice, but as we all know, these are not good people.
They're not good people.
We're also joined by our narrator for this game, who has been orchestrating all the suffering we've been going through over the last few weeks, Matt.
Yeah, Comatose on the forums and everyone else in this game. It's been fun.
Yes. I'm going to hand this over quickly on to Giveaway Ben to talk about this week's giveaway.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Alyx the Recap Khandra, and Dalish, here to tell you about some giveaways. You'll see that since digesting, impersonating Eric, I've also substituted for Giveaway Ben. And now I've consumed the flesh of, never mind, you get the drift. Dear Venture Supremacy. Yay. So by now you guys know the drill. First off, there's the Crafty Games giveaway. The eligibility criteria involve commenting below this video and being a subscriber to the 17th Shard channel. And if you do those things, you'll have a chance to win either a set of Allomantic or Ferrochemical dice from Crafty Games. And for last week, the winner of the Crafty Games giveaway is Sophie Hughley, or at Sophie Hughley 2752. So to claim your prize, you can contact us at 17thshard@gmail.com. And we'll also, if we don't hear from you, reach out to you somehow. I don't know things. I'm just a Khandra. Our second giveaway comes from Shire Post Mint and includes a set of Era 1 Mistborn coins, which you can enter to win by signing up for the Shire Post Mint newsletter by using the link in the description. This giveaway is open worldwide, baby. Even you could win, Dalish. The winner of that giveaway will be contacted by Shire Post Mint each week directly, so keep an eye on the email you use to sign up for the newsletter. Thanks to Crafty Games and Shire Post Mint for this week's giveaways. The same giveaways are happening again this week for the final time, so don't miss out on your last chance to win. Stay tuned for our upcoming Secrets in Stained Glass Talkback show and our cast stream when we will announce the winners. So sit back and enjoy the show, and I'm going to go see what Ian's up to. Bye.
Thanks, giveaway, Ben. So, without much further ado, Matt, would you like to get us started on our 5th and final episode of Diceborn, Secrets in Stained Glass?
Absolutely. I guess, before we get started, I did want to just give another shout out to our narrator in our regular Diceborn series, Natasha. I mentioned in the first episode, but she did some consultation with me in prepping this. That was very helpful as a first-time narrator.
You've done so good, Matt. So
incredibly
good.
well. Yeah.
It's been really fun. Obviously we're doing some homebrew and making some stuff up as we go, but that's part of the fun. Yeah, I'm really excited now to move into the final session. And hope everyone's enjoyed it so far. So to start with our recap, I'm just going to do it today because there was a lot of group work going on. So we figured it might be kind of scattered if the players were all doing their own individual recaps. So we're returning, of course, to the Alariel country estate on the banks of Lake Luthadel, about a decade before the events of the Final Empire novel, and in one of the coldest winters of recent memory. Our errant aristocrats are the friends and acquaintances of Maevis Alariel, who has provided them with an invitation to this party. And they all have their own reasons for looking into what's been going on with Maevis, because she's been distant since fire killed many members of her family 2 years previous. And most recently, when we left off, the players were dealing with the aftermath of an attack on Maevis by her brother, Vasha, who was recently thought to be deceased. Jenna and Deer were able to rescue Maevis from a frozen lake and get her inside, where Deer's sister, Eliane, was able to start providing medical care using a new trait, which was purchased with some advancements. So that was
good trait choice.
Very convenient. Yes. Meanwhile, the other NPC friend in the group, Addison, went to get help from Sylvain and Eliane, and Sylvain, thinking Dier might have been behind the attack, confronted Dier with some information that Dier was surprised Sylvain knew. It seems like some people have been talking. And the confrontation was cut short, though. It seemed that they were able to communicate that Dier maybe wasn't the villain in all of this, but might know some things. So Dier, Sylvain, and Jenna had a little meeting with Solus Alariel, the Lord, Maevis's uncle, and some more information came out. Dier confessed that he had a relationship with Vasha. That Vasha was training him in allomancy from a young age, and also that there was a romantic connection between Dier and Maevis for a time. Meanwhile, Lucius, trying to escape the effects of the Grey Fester that he took after having some bad trip moments, had a interesting interaction with Tennille Urbane, the lady of House Urbane, where she drunkenly gave some opinions on different members of the Alariel family, and also talked a bit about her sister, Olivine Lunarche, who some of the players have some connection to. When Lucius was summoned downstairs with everyone else due to the security breach, he noticed Maevis's door was ajar, and did some snooping and found some journal pages, which were very interesting.
Yes, very informative.
Very informative. He found out about Maevis's secret relationship with an individual known as Chess, the former bodyguard of Julian Lunarch, who was Jenna's fiance and who passed in the fire. The journal also gave an account of what happened in the fire, how Chess attacked Maevis's brother Vasha, how there seemed to be some fighting, some commotion, how the fire seemed very orchestrated, flames were kind of coming in from all directions, and Maevis was only saved by the efforts of her father, who was a Mistborn, but sadly didn't make it. Lucius also looked into Addison because he was a little suspicious of Maevis's new friend, and was surprised to find, Lucius was surprised to find that other than when she shows up in that initial account of the fire, Addison's name is conspicuously absent from the other journal entries, and there were some pages missing. So
up to no good, or no bad, at least.
Not sure what's going on there. And lastly, he found a diagram that Maevis was working on with a lot of names and circles and arrows and lines that seemed to connect Jenna and Dier to this Chess individual. Back in the atrium, Lucius, Dier, and Jenna start to exchange some information. Jenna acknowledges her secret relationship with Dier for the first time to Lucius. And they start reviewing the diagram together. Meanwhile, Eliane, with some help from some spirits rolls from the group, symbolizing their destinies being intertwined with Maevis, is able to stabilize Maevis, and so Eliane and Addison come out and join Sylvain, who is a little bit in shock and a little bit overwhelmed, but has put a shirt on, which is important.
He did eventually put a shirt on.
He did eventually put a shirt on.
Yeah.
Also, point of order, I will say it was pointed out to me that I mentioned people were being served hot cocoa, which is apparently not Final Empire thing, so we're going to say that is a different hot beverage. It's not.
Whiskey and lemon.
Have been exploding for 2 weeks.
I'm sure they have. Yeah. And so finally, our full group converged, and our trash trio, as we've been calling them, tore into Addison a bit and tried to figure out what she was hiding and what she knew. So after a tense moment, Addison asked to be excused, and at that point the group was approached by a servant informing them that Maevis was awake and asking to see them. So did I miss anything in that?
I'd just say, in case you forgot, Jenna killed Chess. Just so people know that we that was revealed in earlier episodes, but I feel like that might be relevant.
Maybe. Let's get into it then. So the servant has approached the group and is saying that, Lady Maevis would like to see you all.
Let's go immediately.
Yeah.
Sylvain would probably catch Addison's attention.
Yeah, and the servant also seems to be catching her attention as well. It seems like Addison has been included in this request for a meeting. So she rejoins the group, and you are led to the Solar. Eliane, you more recently left this area, so some of this is familiar to you. I will say, just so I'm aware, our Seekers, are you guys burning bronze? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. I mean, as soon as everything happened, she was already burning bronze with practicing earlier. With everything happening, she wouldn't have turned it off.
Okay. Yeah. So you're obviously sensing each other. I'll maybe just get 2 bronze rolls off the hop for you guys, just in case something comes up, and I'll just say it what you know based on your rolls. So.
Sounds good.
I will say Deer's probably got his steel going.
Okay.
I don't think he's turned it off since the lake, actually.
So yeah, Eliane and Lucius, give me a bronze roll.
There's my 5 dice. Wow, I rolled 0 and 1 nudge.
Wow, yeah, that's a straight pretty much.
Yeah.
And Eliane gets a 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 0. Okay, sounds good. So as you approach the solar, you find that the door is guarded by 2 haze killers, 2 guards in haze killer attire. And you are ushered in. And as you walk in, you see Maevis. She is speaking softly with Lord Solace, her uncle, and the terrace steward Faisal is standing at attention nearby. Maevis is... Eliane, it looks like there's been... You haven't been gone that long, but it looks like there's been some activity in here before you came in. Maevis is set up on a rather lavish-looking cot next to a very well-stocked fire, and the room is glowing with light from many candles. Maevis is propped up on some pillows and under a plush blanket. And under the coverings, she wears a really kind of fashionable, well-made night coat or robe over her bandages. You also see the servant who let you in is now pulling the drapes. But as they're pulling the drapes, you can see there are haze killers patrolling outside the solar as well. But it seems like they're making some efforts to give you some privacy. Maevis... she's speaking softly with Solace, and as she's speaking, you can see her fingers are kind of deftly just finishing weaving her hair into a pretty simple braid. Her hair is often very ornately braided, but this one's just kind of to the side, putting it together. Maevis is someone who's usually just seems so casual and effortless about her appearance, that in her state, although she looks very kind of wan and fragile, it's almost like she's put on armor, right? This is her way of... She's preparing for something, and you kind of get that vibe. So as you enter and approach, Maevis and Solace share a look, and Maevis nods, and Solace and Faisal take their leave. And it might strike some of you that even though it makes sense, Maevis isn't going to leave. This is the room she's set up in. It kind of almost reads like a dismissal, and that Solace was waiting at her pleasure, even though he would outrank her. So it is kind of an interesting dynamic. And you are left alone in privacy with Maevis. And so she gives you all a kind of soft smile. And even though she seems fairly weak, it still kind of has a warming effect. And she says, well, I know we've had our fair share of wild nights, but this one might top the Ash Mount, doesn't it?
I'm gonna rush over. I'm gonna crouch down next to her. I'm gonna take one of her hands, and I'm gonna be like, May, what happened? What happened to you? What did they do to you?
Oh, Lucius. Honestly, I don't know where to start or whether I should. And she's kind of looking around at all of you. Definitely kind of scoping everyone out and trying to see what people's reactions are.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. It seems like Vasha failed. It seems like he wasn't able to do too much lasting damage to me.
Thank the Lord Ruler.
Yes. But and thanks to Eliane, I'm told. Thank you, and to you, dear, and Jenna for saving me.
No, of course. I am glad my elsewhere enough so that we didn't have to lose you.
I think Dier has gotten, like, I think he almost got a little bit caught in the door where when he saw her, and he's kind of hanging back from the rest of the group, like he still doesn't know how to act in this situation. I think there's a part of him like seeing her again now that she's awake for the first time since, I mean, they had a very brief exchange on the lake while she was still conscious, but I think there's a part of him it almost feels like his father's alive again, because he has so many emotions that have just been, it's like a rioter is pulling everything to the surface all on top of each other, and he doesn't even know what to say. So yeah, I think he's kind of just stunned, silent, holding back, can't speak. So
Jenna goes over to Maevis, and Jenna just says, "It is very good to see you awake and well. I need you to know that I know things have been rough between us, but that I am your friend, and when things matter, I will put the chips down and help you."
I appreciate you saying that, Jenna. I think I might need to ask for that help now.
Yes? With Vasha?
Yes. To start, I feel like I've done something bad in bringing you all here under these circumstances. Like,
how do you mean?
Set you against each other in some ways. And she kind of glances from Jenna and Lucius, who are right there, to Sylvain and Eliane. And Addison is also kind of hanging back, Dier. So she's kind of moved away from the door. She doesn't want to be too close to Dier, but she hasn't rushed up. Just in case something happens to me, I want you all to know that I think the people in this room at least can be trusted. I didn't want any suspicion to linger between you all.
Lucius holds back the urge to look at Addison, and stays looking at Maevis.
And I will say, I think as she says that at one point, Maevis does kind of share a meaningful look with Addison. Like, she knows Addison is maybe in a more vulnerable position if something were to happen to her, and so that she intentionally included Addison in the room so she can make that statement. And you can see Maevis she's obviously quite exhausted. So she is a little slow to speak. Like, her tone is a little weak. Like, she's putting on a strong face. She'll say, "I'm not sure how much time we have. Vasha will come back to finish what he started if he knows I survived. I've been
tonight?
Thinking,
tonight or
I have been speaking with my uncle, and we think it's best that for the time being, we tell the other guests that I've succumbed to my injuries.
Understood.
And I would like all of you to further that deception. We can't know. I feel like I can trust all of you, but I don't know who else might be working with him. Or she has kind of a wry smile, his employer, but I think it's best if they think they've accomplished their objective.
Maevis. I don't think it was a mistake to invite us all here. Like, could you imagine if we weren't? If these two, and look at Jenna and yeah, could you imagine if these two weren't? Did his employer? And I'm gonna kind of lean in a bit close and be like, was it Strap? I'm gonna whisper that quietly in hopes that Dear and Eliane don't hear.
Oh, can we try to overhear that?
Yeah, I would say, Lucius, I think this is... Ooh.
Because Jenna's close enough to hear, probably.
Yeah, Jenna's right up there.
Yeah.
Where is Eliane standing?
She wouldn't be as far back as Dear and Addison, probably, but she wouldn't be super close to Maevis because she was never that close. But she's gonna want to like keep an eye on her, like offer her water if she needs something, like so like middle of the room, more or less.
So like you're just whispering, Lucius. So I'm gonna say this is a physique roll because I think it's your physical hearing.
Yeah.
So, Eliane, you can roll difficulty 2, and Dear can roll difficulty 3 to see what you hear. Physique.
First.
3s and a nudge. I'm gonna bank that nudge.
Okay. So, Eliane, you do hear him whispering about Straff.
Can I... I feel like there's dice I want to add to this, but I don't know which dice sense. Would you let me add protective to it?
Yeah.
Okay. And could I also maybe add his destiny?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Which he has you said it's a physique roll for us?
Yeah.
So he has 3 normally, and he's adding 2.
I don't mind Eliane hearing, but oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, wow!
And Dear rolls 5. So yeah, I think he reacts immediately to that.
Oh, this is gonna be.
Did you just say?
Dear.
I think before Lucius answers, he turns on Maevis. Is this what you've been writing him about?
Jenna looks at Dear, just what?
No, yeah.
He doesn't say anything, but just like, wait.
She doesn't know as much as Dear does. I mean, she has more information about Straff. Like the moment that Lucius asks, like high alert, like gonna be like, okay, this makes sense. There's a high possibility Straff is actually connected if he is Vasha's employer.
Maevis, what in the deepness were you thinking? I mean, you thought Vasha was bad. You know how dangerous my cousin can be. What did you think was going to happen getting tangled up in something like that?
I think I found myself tangled before I knew fully what the situation was, and it was too late. I couldn't let myself let it go. You know me, I never back down from a challenge.
To your own detriment. What was so important that you had to do all of this?
The questions you all are asking me are fair, but they're dangerous. And she kind of nods to her bandages.
We're well aware, Maevis.
I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of my cousin. I'm not afraid of Vasha. And whatever is going on here, I am determined to get to the bottom of it.
I intend to make sure Vasha pays Maevis. We will discover Straff's connections. He is very powerful, but we shall see. Vasha will die, however.
Do you promise that I have your aid in this, regardless of what information might come out?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Honestly, regards to Straff, I haven't trusted him for a long time. And I am not surprised he is connected to all this.
I think Dier hesitates. Not necessarily because he has any fondness for Straff, or even because of his connection to Vasha necessarily. But I think this is a bit of a similar ask to when, like, if Jenna has ever asked him to act against Venture, in that Dier knows he really doesn't have anything other than his family name. And agreeing to act in a way that could put him at odds with Venture could be very dangerous when he doesn't have any other support network. So I think he does pause and says, I don't know where this is going to lead, Maevis, but you're important to me, and you're an idiot if you ever thought that wasn't the case. And then I think he pauses and he thinks about, like, all of the times Vasha bullied her, or all of the times he said something mean or cut her out, and Dier went along with that because he didn't want to lose Vasha's favor, and just has this, like, little moment of guilt and says, but maybe I've been an idiot too if I ever did anything to make you think that wasn't the case. So yes, you have my word. Wherever this leads, I'm on your side in it.
Thank you, Dier. And she's kind of like met Dier's eyes in that moment of hesitation, I think, and was making very intentional eye contact. And she'll look to Sylvain and Addison.
Of course.
Well, this is a party, right? There's information to be exchanged. Why don't we play a game?
Oh, I love games.
Boxing for boxing. And you will know this as a drinking game that Maevis is fond of, in which the players take turns asking a question to another player of their choice. In response, the player being asked offers a question in return. And if the person whose turn it is answers that response question, then the player who asked it must also answer the initial question.
Love this.
The strategy can be, if you don't want to answer something, you need to ask a question that you don't think the other person will want to answer.
And do players count as Maevis and Addison in this context?
Yeah. Everyone's playing.
Cool.
So Maevis will say, I unfortunately don't think I'll be able to drink much or at all in my condition, but we can probably still have a little bit of fun.
It's okay, Mavis. I'll drink for you. And I look around. Is there a drink nearby? I don't have one.
Is there like a wine bottle?
Yeah, like there's in the solar. There's a little mini bar that you can raid.
Cool.
Jenna will pour herself a glass of wine.
And
I'm gonna wave at Jenna.
You're getting set up.
Okay.
Maevis will share a glance with Addison. And the Seekers will notice that Addison starts burning tin as they share that glance.
Cool.
And she says, well, there's no obligator present, so I guess maybe we'll have to rely on the oaths of our youth to make sure we're all telling the truth. And she'll say, in a very kind of dramatic, put-on voice, I swear an oath I fear to break, by rhyme of shade and brawlin make, by hero's witness may I keep my word or feed the tendrils deep. And she looks at you, all expecting to repeat.
Jenna repeats it.
Yeah.
She knows it. Easy.
Lucius
And
repeats
some of
it,
you,
takes a
like,
drink.
This is kind of like a Bloody Mary, like nursery rhyme, right? Like kind of like a spooky, like the vibes are very like teenagers drinking, like playing Truth or Dare.
I think there's a like
Also,
weary glare from Dier, like, I can't believe you're doing this right now, but also it's such a Maevis thing to do.
Yeah.
Jenna's like, she's not reacting, but she's like, oh my god, I can't. This is not what I expected this to be at all. Of course she would do this.
Lucius is loving it.
yeah, Eliana's probably in the same place as Jenna's, like, but she's gonna do it.
So Maevis will, as you're assembled, she'll say, well, the only proper way to go about something like this is order of precedence. Lady Techiel, would you like to start us off?
Jenna just grins. And she's got her wine glass.
Mm-hmm.
And she just looks to Maevis and says, what did you want to talk with me at the lake before Vasha showed?
And Maevis is going to say, that's a fair question. You received an order to eliminate Julian's bodyguard after the fire. And that order came through the ministry. Did you ever wonder where the ministry got its information about him? Or where the instruction who made the decision to have you carry out this task came from? And you can see Maevis, like, her tone, like, she gets a little, like, sharper. Like, she kind of has a game face on.
Which, that's news. I will say, that's news to Lucius, right? That Jenna had an order to eliminate Julian's bodyguard?
Yes, you guys last
It's news
episode.
to everyone else.
Yes, it's news to everyone except
Yeah.
the two people
knows
that
the importance
he
of
was
that.
dealt with, and I know the importance of that, yes.
Sylvain has just gone rigid.
Yeah. And you notice Maevis is an adept player of this game, and so she's dropping tidbits in her questions. You can see there's some strategy.
Indeed.
Ooh, okay.
The ministry received a confession that Chess was half Ska, and given his relationship to the rebellion, well, Lady Olivine and Chess, they knew their state in things. Of course I wondered more details. Ministry politicking is always stressful. It's very stressful for me. As someone who wants to follow the ministry implicitly. Their politicking is exhausting.
The ministry can be opaque, but I think you give them too much credit as well.
Oh?
They act like they lead the nobility, but it's always the same people pulling the strings, Jenna. What I wanted to speak with you about. Through informants, I've learned that you were involved in the execution of Julian's bodyguard, and I had doubts that you would be candid if confronted about what happened. I wanted to meet with you with someone who I thought would be undeniable proof of some sort of scheme going on that you couldn't wiggle out of. And I wanted answers. And I think you've given me some, and they weren't the ones I was expecting.
Well, Maevis, you now know the only thing that I would truly try and wiggle out on the lake.
Venture is next. Pierre, your firstborn. Who do you want to ask a question of?
You slipped a note into my invitation and asked to meet with me tonight. Is this what you were hoping to speak with me as well, just to confront me about whatever role I might have played in this scheme, or was there anything else you were going to say to me had we actually managed to meet?
This makes sense that Jenna and Tiara are like, what the hell is going on in our meetings?
And I think he's maybe shaking a little bit. Because I think he's figured out from like Maevis's answer to Jenna, he's like, she wanted to know about whatever's going on. But he's a little hurt if that's the only reason she was willing to talk to him after all this time.
And in return, the question Maevis will ask is, what are your feelings for Jenna Tekiel?
Does Diar look at Jenna?
I think he does. I think he looks at Jenna for permission.
Ooh, this is a spicy one.
And just stays quiet until he gets a signal from her.
Jenna takes a sip of wine and nods to Diar.
Goodness. Wow. Okay. I have to think for a second. Goodness. I think he always thought like if it ever came out, it was going to be Jenna who would do it. Now he has to say what they are
in front of everybody. Like Lucius already knows. But Sylvain and Eliana and Addison are here.
I think that helps that Lucius already knows. Like he's already seen Jenna reveal it to someone. Like it doesn't feel quite as taboo almost. And I think he says, I think he's surprised for a second that Jenna gives him permission. And I think he looks to Maevis and then he looks back to Jenna. He says, I think Jenna Tekiel is one of the most brilliant and interesting people I have ever known. I think that the way she works her way through court and handles every manner of schemes is nothing short of incredible. And though it may not have been obvious to the rest of the court, given our interactions in public, I would do anything for her. Anything she asked.
And he does very well at it.
Most of the time.
Indeed.
I'm sure he does.
And Eliana's gonna give Diar a knowing look. She's gonna be like, without saying anything, but she's gonna be like, oh, this is why you were out on a mission when I didn't know because it didn't come through Venture.
Jenna has just a slight smirk on her face, but you can tell she's pleased.
He's a little bit pleased as well that he finally like gets to say that he cares about Jenna in front of other people.
So Maevis will say, I did want to speak with you about your potential involvement with Jenna in this business. But there was something else. Dear, I think you're in danger. I think
From Vasha?
from Straff. I think he's growing tired of your antics, let's say, and one of the premises I used to try to get information out of Straff was the possibility of a match between us. And I got the sense that if you weren't handled in some way, well, Straff had a different way of handling you.
A match between you and I? That's what you were talking to him about?
Among other things. Lady Eliane, I believe it's your turn.
Jenna's nodding grimly at this, just thinking about Maevis's words there.
Lucius is offended because he forgets the Eliane's adventure. He's like, oh.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Fine.
So, you suspect Straff of trying to deal with Dier. And he also confirmed he's Vasha's employer. Do you know
never
how...
said that.
No, it was implied. Do you know anything about how he was involved the night of the fire? And by any chance, is that the reason Charisse came when she wasn't expected in the first place?
That's a good one.
That's a very good one. Ellen's mom, by the way, listeners. That's Charisse. Rip.
Yes, thank you for that clarification, because I think we all have it clear. But
yeah.
Listeners may not.
Yeah.
Why are you afraid of your brother?
Oh!
Woo!
Dier looks stricken by her phrasing.
And she does not, she pointedly is focusing on Eliane, not on Dier in this.
I think there's a chance. Does she look at Dier at all?
Maevis?
No, Eliane.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, you know what could come out.
Say whatever you need to say, Eliane. There's a ministry edict tonight. Couldn't do anything, after all. And I think he phrases it that way, but he gives her a look like, I'm not going to hurt you if you say something here. Like, there is a bit of permission there.
That's definitely the most threatening giving permission.
Yeah. He's trying.
Taken after Jenna here.
Yeah. After the fire, Dier changed. I would not be surprised. It's because of the people he lost that night. Vasha, presumably, well, as far as you knew back then. And your friendship, Maevis, became even more reckless around Father and Straff. Did not improve the atmosphere in the Venture household at all. And I also was affected because of that whole circle of interactions. But more than that, if you want me to be specific, he went too far a couple of weeks ago. And he threatened me if I said anything. I'm just gonna look at Dier again.
I think you might spill the beans just then.
He can't meet anyone's eyes.
I will say partway through, I'm not sure at what point Dier averted his eyes, but at the part where Eliane talks about what Deer lost and him changing, like near the beginning of that answer, I think Maevis would try to meet Deer's eyes if he hadn't looked away yet.
Yeah, I think he looks away. I think it's probably when she says like he recently went too far.
So before that,
he might have seen Maevis's look.
And there's a look of, I know that hurt in her. Like there's some compassion for him there.
Yeah, I think Maevis can see in just Dier's reaction, like he knows everything Eliane has just said about him is completely true about why he's acted like this and what he's done and the fact that he went too far. So, yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Eliane. And for the record, I've always found that Deer's bark is worse than his bite.
Yeah, Eliane didn't say exactly what happened. Because of all the implications that has. But if people know, she doesn't have to say it directly for people to put it together.
So Maevis then will say, what I found is that Straff is an opportunist. The circumstances leading to the fire, I think, created an opportunity. Straff was not the sole author of what happened, but he certainly twisted it to his purposes. And Charisse was aware of some of those twistings and tried to warn me about it. Does that answer your question, Eliane?
Yeah, and I think Eliane is gonna start putting things together from the information she has, and so while it may not be that clear to everyone else, she, like, that answers her question enough. Okay. She's gonna be like, yes.
Can I just quickly ask, as a player, the way Maevis phrased that, Straff was twisting things in the lead up to the fire, it sounded like, is what she said?
I think it could be both, honestly.
Okay.
Like,
it wasn't specific.
Definitely, like, lead up, I would say, because, like, Charisse is warning Maevis. Like, that's why Charisse was there. So it has to be through the lead up, right? But I imagine that phrasing can also imply twisting after and taking opportunity that the fire happened, right? That's my assumption.
Okay.
I guess it's my turn then. Ilariel's next. She kind of takes a breath. And then she meets Addison's eyes. And Addison freezes. And Dier, you're closest. So you barely hear her whisper, please don't, under her breath.
Okay.
Maevis will say, before I ask this, I do want to remind everyone that I don't think anyone in this room, now anyways, means anyone else harm. Addison.
Vane will glance at Jenna and Dier and Lucius.
The night of the fire, the night most of my family and Julian, and she kind of glances at Jenna and at Sylvain, died. You snuck a man into the manor through the servant's entrance. Who was he, and what did he want? Addison will hesitate for a moment, and then she'll say, why did you ignore Charisse the first time she tried to warn you about Straff?
Oh!
Yep, this is all clicking in place.
I know nothing about what's going on.
No idea. Nothing.
And you can sense, like, there's a, like, you didn't notice it at first, but there is a palpable tension between Maevis and Addison that kind of surprises everyone. Like, there's something going on between these two, obviously. And so Maevis will say, it's not one of my prouder moments, but I thought she was overreacting, and I had a party to get to that I knew I would see Chess at. And so I blew her off.
Jenna just looks at Maevis and is like, with a very puzzled glance at that mention of chess.
Pierre, I think, too, is like, first name?
You don't even know what surname he went with, Alyx. So that's the only one we have.
I don't know. Well, he's been Julian's bodyguard every other time she's talked about him.
That's true.
In this conversation.
And Addison will say, he was a man that I knew from childhood. I didn't know that he was half Ska at first, but you wouldn't understand this, any of you. My house is so low, and we're from an outer dominance, so the lines are murkier anyways out there. He wanted to kill your brother, Vasha. And he told me things about Vasha that made me think that would be for the best. And I didn't think you would mourn him. It was just supposed to be Vasha, though. Maevis will nod and kind of take a breath and then say, well, Lucius, is it your turn?
Hand on Maevis's hand and be like, oh, May. Mayfy baby, oh, honey.
No honey, there are no flowers. Honey does not exist.
Oh, true.
Sugar fine? No, sugar's terrible. I'm not going to call it sugar. I'm going to look at her and be like, I know about chess and your relationship. And then I'm going to look to Addison and I'm going to be like, did you sneak chess in the Night of the Fire?
Maevis kind of has a curious glance at Lucius. And Addison, in response, will say, she thinks for a moment, Lucius, if you don't mind me saying, tend to ignore those beneath you.
Until they become relevant.
Who is chess to you? Why is chess relevant to you?
Oh, because Addison took the pages from the journal, right? About her. And so she's trying to get if Lucius knows about the journal.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about Olivine these days, and her trysts with outside of the great houses. And, you know, one of her children, Julian, was one of my best friend's fiancés. But then I am starting to suspect that this chess was another one of her children. A half-Scar one. Can you believe it? And now, tonight, I've learned that my Maevis here was in love with this chess fellow. And so, if he's burnt down her family's house trying to kill her brother, I think she has a right to know.
Jenna sort of shares looks at Maevis and just starts to slowly walk towards Maevis as discreetly as she can.
Addison will say, Chess had his own way in with Julian. I only knew Chess through Maevis. The man I knew, who I helped, he seemed to know Chess as well, but not very well. When I told him that Maevis was involved with him, he warned me that Chess was dangerous. He is a better man than Chess. The person that, and she looks at Maevis on this, Chess, the person that you brought into your life. And he was better than Vasha as well. So yes, I let him in. And yes, he was part of whatever happened that night that created so many losses. And I've spent the last 2 years trying to atone for my small part in this. And maybe I'll never be able to atone fully, but if I hadn't let him in, he would have found another way. And all he wanted to do was stop a very bad man from doing a very bad thing. And that fire, that death, that wasn't him. The monster who did that, I think you know, was one of your own making, Maevis.
Lucius is gonna go, and then breaking the rules of the game because he doesn't, he's gonna be like, just who was he then?
I think that's your turn, Lord Lucius. Addison will say. And Maevis will say, quite right. We all must be good sports.
If you say so.
Lord Sylvain, it's your turn.
Sylvain is almost caught off guard as a lot of information has come to light that he was not aware of, and he is processing, which has established it's difficult for him.
Who is he looking at?
Maevis.
He's not looking at Addison and all of that?
Well, he was looking at Addison, but Maevis is the last one who spoke. So,
I will say that when Addison was saying all that, when she talked about atoning, she would have also tried to share a look with Sylvain.
Yeah, I would have been paying attention when she was speaking.
Okay.
And you would not see judgment in his eyes. She would see empathy. Confess that you all seem to know a lot of things.
Welcome to Luthadel. It doesn't get any better than this.
It doesn't get much worse either.
And I think Sylvain is visibly struggling to process. Also, as player is trying to phrase this question. Maevis, Lady Maevis, why didn't you ever mention Chess? Your relationship with him. What was your relationship with him?
I think Deer leans forward a little bit at that as well. I think he's been watching Maevis's reaction since Lucius asked the question, trying to figure out, is what Lucius just said true?
Lucius is enjoying stirring the pot.
Mm-hmm. Is useful for me.
Yeah. I need to get that out somehow. I thought in the question would be a great way to do it.
Maevis will say, "Thank you for your question, Sylvain." And you can see she kind of hesitates, like she's almost like treating Sylvain a little more gently than she has the others. But she knows, takes a breath, kind of steeling herself. Did Julian ever have doubts about his parentage? And did he tell anyone about them?
Jenna freezes. Like she's like been trying to move towards Maevis. She freezes and like Jenna's entire attention is on Sylvain.
And Maevis, I'll say, as she asks Sylvain, her gaze is like flicking towards Jenna. Like it's clear she's also trying to read Jenna's reaction to what
Jenna's face is stone cold, like just staring at Sylvain.
Lucius is relieved that he's not the one that had to bring up Julian's suspicious parentage to Jenna.
Yeah, Deer's watching Jenna very carefully as well.
That was something I do.
No.
Roll a deception check, or not deception. Roll a charm to try to deceive the group.
Screw you, Matt, the way you phrased that. I was thinking about ways to get around this question.
Lie in a game of boxing for boxing?
Well,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Sylvain could have refused to answer as
He
well.
refused to answer.
That would be an answer in and of itself.
It would be.
Mm-hmm.
So, previously, when Dier was trying to get a read on whether Sylvain was lying, I was able to add my big himbo energy to obfuscate.
Sylvain is the villain of this campaign. Wow.
I think Maevis knows Sylvain better than Dier, so I don't think the big himbo act will work to Sylvain's advantage with Maevis. And there's another person in the room who's trying to tell if he's...
Oh, I know exactly who it is. And I think I know what trait she has. Can I add anything else?
Even if Maevis, like, Sylvain manages to deceive Maevis, I would not be surprised if Addison has the lie detector trait.
That's the one.
Yeah.
I figured out the moment she turned on her chain. I was like, oh, this is why.
I mean, like, I have it as voice.
Exactly why I knew about
all
it.
of your things used against you.
Yeah. I feel like there's an argument for my destiny because this does relate to protecting my family.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
This is a duel of wits, I would say. Couldn't you agree?
I'm not going to give you that.
Okay. So that's one extra die.
Yep.
So that's 6 die. And this is a contest. 3 nudges.
And a 0.
Zero.
Okay.
There's no way in hell
I'm going to
Sylvain
make
would.
a couple of rolls.
Oh, okay.
Can Jenna make a roll to see if Sylvain's telling the truth?
Yeah.
I'll let you roll first.
Difficulty 0.
Okay. I'll just explain. So this is Addison, who does have the lie detector trait, seeing if she can detect the lie with her tin.
Oh my god! What?
Oh my god!
Wow!
I love her so much.
And one
I don't care if Addison is. Addison can see that.
And then this is how good of a poker face Addison has, because she is not going to give any signal that Sylvain lied.
Ooh. Covering
this
for
is
you.
Addison's charm.
She's the best. This is what I thought would happen, to be honest.
Another
really
good
nice
one.
today. Wow.
And
Okay.
then this
perfect and I
is
love her.
Mavis's wits.
Addison, deadly threat.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Told you shouldn't trust her.
True.
To see.
I've trusted her since the moment I
Let's
found out about it.
see. I don't think she can add anything to this.
Good. Good.
Nothing.
Oh.
So Mavis at least accepts Sylvain's answer. Jenna, you can roll.
What should I roll? Wits?
Wits. Yeah.
Would you argue that her drive gets a bonus die for this? Okay.
Yeah.
As Ian carefully sips water.
It's pink
Okay, so I got
lemonade.
6. Okay, let's roll.
I love it when the dice tell a story.
Wow! Wow!
Snap!
Ha!
The 0 and 2
Damn.
nudges.
Damn, I guess I'll bank them.
Jenna, you kind of shy back from this question. It's almost like a box you weren't expecting to be presented with, and you're not sure you want it opened. So in other circumstances, maybe you would have been better at reading Sylvain there, but Jenna's too in her own head about it.
Dier would notice that Jenna's pretty unnerved. Like, Jenna doing death glares on someone. Okay, whatever. That's Jenna. But, like, she's unnerved by that question.
I think he very slowly will move to stand next to her, kind of sensing that she's in a really tense spot right there.
Can I roll to see if I beat Addison's poker face?
Sure.
I can't add anything here.
You're gonna go wits against her 5s?
Yes. We'll see.
Himbo moment.
The dice are a divine magical thing. Maybe
true.
something will happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything's possible.
Oh, close, but no.
Wow, those are high numbers.
5 and a 4.
Pairs.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
I would have freaked out if
That's
there were
a
double
0.
5s. Incredible. But no.
Truly.
Yeah.
So
close.
yeah, Mavis will kind of look down, like she'll nod at Sylvain's answer, and she'll look down and say, Tess and I feel stupid to say it, in love. But now I'm not sure if he ever felt the same way towards me or if I was just a means to an end. And that's the big secret I've been trying to unravel with all of these things I've been doing and questions I've been asking. I didn't mean to get caught up in all this high politics. I just wanted to know if it was real, and somehow I've lost my way into, well, something deadly.
Not yet. We're all still breathing.
We're here for you, Mavis.
Mavis. I'm sorry.
You can see Mavis is like getting very tired.
Yeah.
And she'll say, kind of rub her head. Addison, you still have a turn. Do you have a question for anyone? Addison will look at the group, and her glance kind of flicks from person to person, and she'll say, I have no interest in this game.
Ooh.
My question is, can this be done, and may I take my leave? Mavis will just kind of nod And then Addison will head out of the room.
As she goes, Lucius is like, "Yeah, yes, go, and then be like, maybe that woman is no good for you. Like, tell you that now."
It's a lot more complicated than that, Lucius.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I hope you all had some fun. I don't mean to be evasive, but I'm not sure if I knew the position I'd be in now, that I would have pursued all these answers so diligently. I think you have enough pieces to work some things out, but before you do, ask yourselves, how much do you really want to know? And she kind of looks at Jenna and says, and what's the price of knowing? You all promised me that you would help me with this, protect me, but you might uncover things that make you question that promise. I'm sorry, I think I need to rest.
Maevis, Vasha will die. And I'm sorry. But
and what about the person who's paying him?
I don't know what we'll do with Straff.
And if it's not Straff? Is there anyone? Kind of hesitates. What if this path puts you at odds with someone you didn't expect to be at odds with? Are you still committed to see it through?
Maevis, that just sounds like a lot of fun.
I don't back down, Maevis. I know it needs to be done. I'm sorry for affecting you so, but you know my opinions on Ska. But I am sorry.
He wasn't a Ska, Jenna.
Who wasn't?
Chess.
He was Snowball?
So the twigs in Lucius's brain. He was Straff's kid. He was Straff's and Olivine. Isn't that interesting?
Dier. That was the loose end.
That's why I was there.
Remember...
Sorry, Maevis.
Straff is an opportunist. He takes advantage of opportunities. But he didn't create this web. The risks and whoever... My brother's employer risked the ire of the Steel Ministry to keep some of the things I know quiet. Straff wouldn't have.
Yes, Straff's bold, but he's not stupid. He's not like the Scar Rebels or anything like that.
So, can you think I need? And you can see Maevis
we should go.
Kind of starting to pass
We should
out.
go.
We should go.
One little tap on the hand, and then I'll get up.
Before heading out, Diane will be like, if you need anything in medical terms, if you're not feeling well, don't hesitate to call me. I'm not the most experienced doctor, but I mean, with the storm going on, I think the best we've got at the moment. So if you need anything, just call me. I can help.
Thank you, Eliane.
And she'll leave.
I think Dier maybe lingers for a second as they're heading out. And like as Maevis is she's probably already under. He'll go over and I think just kind of squeeze her hand a little bit and then walks away with the rest.
She squeezes it back.
On his way out, Sylvain will also look back at Maevis. The answer to his question running through his mind. And seeing not just the physical pain she's in, but the emotional pain as well. Before turning and heading out.
Oh.
And now we all have to pretend that she just died in there.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
Sylvain definitely. That's not going to be hard for Sylvain. Like he's dealing with some stuff.
Yep. Just
Um,
gotta keep up the ruse.
Yeah.
So as you exit the room, you find Faisal waiting for you, and he says, if you're done with Lady Maevis, I know you're probably all eager for rest. We've secured the perimeter and are sending guests back to bed, but I think Lord Solace wanted one final word before you headed to bed.
With all of us?
Yes.
I see.
Well, let's go see him then, shall we?
And
Out of
Addison
curiosity.
presumably isn't there anymore, like with
Addison's
the group
not there.
fight.
Yeah, I was about to ask about Addison. Okay.
Yeah, he'll lead you to the main floor lounge where Solace is waiting, and Solace will say, yes, sorry for troubling you. I know it's getting late. I'm assuming you're all aware now. My niece has confirmed it was Vasha who attacked her. However, she's being frustratingly opaque as to any theories she might have as to his motives. In her delicate state, I'm hesitant to press her for answers. But you 6, or 5, where is Lady Addison?
She left.
Well, clue her in, will you, when you get the chance.
I can't imagine a Tenebrian knows anything of substance.
Yes. And it's okay. There's still 6 of us. Sylvain's got the dog. It's fine.
You'll find that House Tenebrian is full of surprises, I think. And Lady Addison has been in my niece's company quite a lot this last while. I've grudgingly agreed with her plan to spread news of her passing amongst the guests, if only to avoid further attacks. Meanwhile, Preland Verity has assured me she'll be out launching a thorough investigation into Vasha and any potential co-conspirators. I think if he's found, he'll be turned over to the Inquisitors as a blasphemer for breaching the Ministry's edict. And their methods, I'm told, are thorough. So I suspect we'll find out if he was working with anyone. And I'm confident that the Lord Prelan will ensure that justice is seen in this matter.
Good. If there's anything we can do to assist in that, do let us know.
I've arranged for a private brunch for you all in the second floor lounge tomorrow morning. If you can sort any of this out for me, so we don't have to bother Maevis with this. I don't want her being interrogated by one of those creatures, or even a regular obligator in her state. So if we can put this business to bed without disturbing her further, that would be of great personal appreciation for me. So my hope is you all, whatever you know about what's going on, if you could work it out and let me know.
Of course, Lord Solace.
Off to bed with you all. And try to sleep. And he has a drink and he'll kind of cheers and take a sip.
Thank you, Lord Lariel. We'll see what we can do.
So you leave the room with solace, and for the first time in a while, you all are kind of left to your own devices. So it's probably like 3 a.m. ish now. Yeah. Like it's late. You've been through a lot. You're tired. You'll see, like, as you exit to the atrium, people are kind of heading off to bed. The guards are on high alert, though. It seems like the whole manor is. And you can see, actually, there's been, like, lime lights lit in the courtyard. So the whole, like, exterior is lit up. So it is very... you could see they're definitely... not leaving things to chance. But yeah, if people want to go to bed, they can go to bed. If people have something they want to do before, they can do that. So maybe let's just go around and see what people want to do. So
Jenna wants to talk to Lucius.
So Lucius is gonna go, is gonna be like, well, you don't get this pretty from no sleep, so I'm going to bed. And then he's going to lean over to Sylvain and just say, 3rd floor, it's first door on the right. And then he's going to start making his way up the stairs.
Jenna follows and tries to get his attention.
He'll stop.
Okay.
She's definitely like...
So Jenna's going to try to grab Lucius. What's Eliane doing?
Like, she is used to staying up late because she stayed up like many nights, like waiting for the air to come back from missions. But she also knows that if both Solace and Maevis are gonna like ask for them to solve all this, she's gonna need the brain power. So she's just gonna like say goodnight to everyone and go to her room. Try to sleep.
And Dier?
Would you just be following Jenna?
Potentially. He might pause, actually. Is his dueling cane still in the atrium?
No.
Can he ask one of the haze killers real quick if they know where it is?
The haze killer he approaches will just say, not offhand, my lord. There was some shattered glass. There was a lot of cleanup. I'm sure in the morning you can find someone to return it to you.
Good. I'd like that back. And then he'll head upstairs after Jenna and Lucius. So maybe a little ways behind if they stop to talk to each other.
Okay. And Sylvain, what are you doing?
Sylvain's going to try and track down Addison.
Okay. So let's start with Jenna, Lucius, and possibly Dier, since you're kind of heading upstairs together.
So I imagine we go up the stairs, like towards our end of the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenna just says, Lucius,
yes, Jenna.
I need to ask you something. Could I chat in your room, please? Dier can come as well. And I imagine Jenna looks behind and sees Dier, and she's pleased and waves.
Yeah, if she makes a signal, he'll come along.
If he must. Now that you two are apparently dating, then
we'll talk about that, Lucius.
I think Dier actually is about to drop a coin to push himself up the stairs and then thinks better about using steel right now and walks up the stairs like a normal person.
Go. Let's head into my room.
Lucius.
Yes.
Are you certain that Chess is Straff's son?
I'm not certain, but it would certainly make sense, wouldn't it? If Olivine has a reputation. I'm sure you know in her early life she was
very
missing
much
for long periods of time from the courts. There's rumors of several bastard Urbanes out there.
Yeah, Urbane, her maiden name was Urbane. She became a Lunarch after her marriage, but yeah.
Yeah, there's rumors of many bastard Urbanes out there. And then, not to say anything about Julian, but even the Lunaches as well. The delicate situation with the men in those family,
That's why I was there that night. He asked me to... He said there was a loose end of his that he thought was being tied up that night, and if it wasn't, I was obliged to ensure that it did. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know who I was looking for. He just said to, you'll know someone getting a hook through the throat. And of course, I was shocked to see Genetikiel at the scene.
That's how this started, Lucius, actually.
What a wonderful first date.
She made quite an impression, but...
I'm sure she did.
I never knew what Raph's stake was in it. I mean, it's not like he tells me anything. I didn't even know who the person was until Jenna let me know later. If it was one of his, I guess that makes sense.
That makes more sense. I was never satisfied with any other explanation. But, Lucius, the Ministry is very certain that Alvine, Chess's mother, and Julian's mother did have an affair with a Ska, and they were convinced that there was a child. Alvine was executed because of this. And the Ministry thought that was Chess.
I heard the rumors, but I wasn't, if the Ministry acted on it, there's going to be more than just rumors.
So I am fairly convinced that there was a child of Alvine.
I think there was, Jenna.
Julian.
Yeah.
And you see just Jenna's face, just like she always really has a face on.
Yeah.
Right? She's never off.
Yeah.
Even with Dier. She's never off. And you just sort of see that shatter on her face. And there's just a look of emptiness that Lucius may have only seen once. Probably after the fire when Julian died. And they finally talked after she probably was out for like a month after that and hadn't done anything.
I will comfort, hug Jenna and comfort her. And then look at Dier and be like,
yeah, I mean, he'll step close, but his dynamic with Jenna is he doesn't necessarily reach out for her unless she asks. But I think he will say, Jenna, you couldn't have known. And besides, he's dead now. It's over. Right?
You were both right. You were right this whole time about him. And I was a fool.
It happens occasionally.
Yeah. It doesn't happen often.
I was a fool.
Jenna, it's as Diaz said, you couldn't have known, and it's one of those things that...
Did either of you know?
No.
About Julian? No.
Yes.
No, of course not.
No. All I heard was the rumors about his mother, but rumors are rumors, and...
Okay. I assume Jenna and Lucius disconnect.
Yes.
And Jenna just she definitely she's not looking at Dier, but motions to Dier, just kind of grabby hands, just where.
He'll go over and hug her. And he'll whisper quietly maybe it would be good for you to go to bed, Jenna. We can work through all of this in the morning.
You feel her shaking. I'm such a fool. I've always been a fool. And then Jenna just leaves and goes to her room.
Yeah. As she leaves, someone looks at...
Nobles are nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I'm
quick
gonna
note
say-
to the not audience. Jenna's not a good person. I want to make that very clear. Yeah, very, very clear.
The
Yeah.
opinions expressed by Jenna Tekiel are not the opinions of the cast.
Mhm.
Just to be clear,
Again.
audience. They're not good people.
Yeah,
And
he was
change,
so good at them.
again, change. I said it the first episode. Change is coming. These people are not going to be empowered.
These guys all die
horrible.
horribly in like a couple of years' time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or before.
Before. Yeah.
I'm gonna look to Dier, and I'm just gonna be like, "Well, you've certainly got a mess to pick up."
It's not like that situation's anything new to me.
Really?
Look, if there's one thing I've done a lot of in my life, it's make a lot of messes. So
Don't we know it?
if you
Yeah.
if you feel steel on the roof, it's probably me.
Okay.
Just warn if you feel a second.
Yep.
Then
I'll keep that in mind.
He'll head out.
He gets dressed, changed into his sleeping suit, satin
Finally.
sleeping pajamas. Finally, he's been in like, uncomfortable, stiff trousers all evening. He wants to get in his nice PJs, and then he goes to bed.
Okay.
Yeah, Dier does go back to his room, and this time he does put on a coat because I think he grabs the blanket that he was given to warm up in as well. Because you know what, he's a little bit late for it, but he had an appointment tonight and he doesn't want to miss it. And slips out his window. And I assume he finds haze killers on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll approach very, very cautiously to, let him know he's not Vasha. This is not the coin shot you're looking for. Because he's very aware of being mistaken for the attacker. But yeah, if they'll give him leave to stay, he will huddle up in his coat, pull the blanket around himself up there, and sit on the roof and just keep his steel burning and watch for anybody approaching. Kick back another vial.
They'll give Dier kind of a eye, like it's obviously they're a little suspicious of you, but they're also kind of like, if he's right here, we can keep an eye on him. And if he's being genuine, it would be helpful to have him there. So they let you keep watch with them. Does Jenna go to bed?
Well, I mean, she's in her room. She's not doing anything. She is sitting on the bed. Her back is straight and she is just staring at the wall. She doesn't change. She's just that's all she's doing.
Good, let her suffer.
And with that, we'll cut to Sylvain, who is tracking down Addison.
Yeah.
You're able to locate her room, and I'm assuming the door's closed. Do you knock on it?
I would knock.
There's a pause, and then you hear a voice. Who is it?
Sylvain.
And there's another pause, and Addison will open the door and let you in.
Oh God, why did I do this to myself? Okay, that's me, human being, playing this character.
You're knifing yourself. The DM doesn't even have to do it. You walked into the knife.
Yes. Okay, I need to focus on Matt so everybody else gets shrunk down so I can ignore their faces.
We're not even here. Nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening. The audience isn't here either.
Look, I've stopped the recording. It's fine.
Yeah.
Deafen yourself, Ben.
Yeah.
I know you're arranging your thoughts. Does Sylvain hesitate at all?
He would not be, I don't think.
Just if he hesitates, Addison might start saying something, but if he kind of launches right into it,
I think he would
give him
launch
space to
right
do that.
Addison, there's something I need to say.
What is it, Sylvain?
God, I'm so nervous. Oh God. And I will say, it's like during most of this, like Sylvain really isn't making eye contact. Like he's speaking to Addison, but it's almost like he's speaking things like as he's working through them. So it's just like looking down and to the side. When you and Maevis came out west to give us to return Julian's body and brought my Aunt Cecily and myself back to Luthadel, my family sent me to bolster connections here. But not that they expected much, but anything that did happen, they wouldn't be ungrateful. And I haven't known how to do that. I've always wanted to do something for my family, prove myself to them. Thought my best shot was the mission Lord Solace gave me yesterday. It feels longer. I feel out of my depth. This is all so far beyond me and my capabilities. I want to do something for my family. I do, genuinely. But there's also something selfish I want to do. And perhaps my aunt was trying to arrange a match between myself and Maevis. And I do love Maevis. As a friend, maybe even as a sister, but I'm not in love with her. I'm in love with you. And I thought I could be happy with the dream. Yeah, just go on believing that maybe, just maybe, you felt the same. But seeing Maevis and all the pain she's going through, trying to answer that question for herself, the mystery of it. We both know I'm not well suited for mysteries. And he'll reach into his pocket and grab his handkerchief and hold it in front of his chest, in front of his heart. And he'll say, "It's yours if you want it."
Addison will take a breath. I'm so sorry, Sylvain. I think you're an incredible person, but I can't accept this. There's a lot I haven't told you. A lot you deserve to know that I can't tell you. And you see she kind of thinks for a moment, and she says, I'm married, Sylvain.
What?
What? Sorry, I've been muted because I've been trying to be good.
Biggest twist of the series so far.
Oh, is she gonna be married to a Ska? Maybe.
And she'll go on and she'll say, I came here for certain purposes. And it was thought that being an unattached young woman would better suit those purposes.
Mm-hmm.
The match I've made, it isn't an advantageous one. My heart is his, Sylvain. But I wish I'm not who you think I am. But you deserve every happiness with someone who you do know. I'm so sorry to have hurt someone like you.
I'm just trying to think. Okay, but
yeah.
Sylvain, like, would say something. Oh god.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Yeah, no worries, Ian. That's. I think that's fair.
You need to admit it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great knife. I'm delighted.
Oh, so good.
This is an incredible knife.
Did you know this, Ian?
No.
Okay, just to be clear.
Like the
Good night,
question of
Matt.
Addison's true feelings. I did not know.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That is evil. That is an evil.
Yeah,
person.
wow.
I love it.
Like, if everyone else is reacting like that, everyone must be right for you because he's your character.
I like how cute this is to how ridiculously horrible the Jenna one was, but it's all just like complete depression still, you know? So it's like kind of nice. There's some
Brutal.
brutal. Holy crap.
It's fine, Sylvain. Deer's not married yet. You still got hope.
If you're happy with him, I cannot begrudge that.
I am, but for what it's worth, for your sake, I wish I could be happy with you, because you deserve every happiness, Sylvain.
And he'll go to the door. I'm sorry for disturbing you. And he will make his exit.
Listen, we'll let him go. And with that, we'll move.
The sun rises.
Wow.
This is why I've been stressed. I'm like, I'm going to confess my love.
Right.
I don't know how she's going to react.
Right.
Oh my god.
There's not much worse you can get than that, you know?
Yeah.
That's sorry, Ian.
That's
No,
so
like,
much
Set
work.
up
Matt.
from the beginning.
Yeah, you're fine. You're great. I love you.
Hey.
Oh, God.
Oh,
my
man.
god.
God, compare that to when we first heard about Maevis and Addison, and we assumed they were roommates, you know? And then and then it turns roommates. And then it turns into this.
They got secrets.
They got secrets.
Maevis and Addison do.
Mm.
So, if no one else has anything else, we'll move to morning. Hi, everyone. We're going to pause here for a quick 5-minute intermission. If you're currently watching the premiere for this episode, you can take this opportunity to go on a break, check back on any scenes you missed, or just enjoy the music, character sheets, and other bonus content that we have on display. If you're watching this episode after it premieres, you can actually skip this intermission using the chapter links in the video description. Either way, enjoy the show. some of you wake up. Some of you are still up. But
Sylvain
it comes
did
to
not
the
sleep.
time to move to the second floor lounge, where Lord Solace has set up a private brunch for you. As you all head there, you see other guests heading down to the main floor dining room for the public brunch. And you kind of hear there's whispers. News has spread that there was attack on Lady Maevis and she's succumbed to her injuries. So servants and guests alike are moving very somberly. There's a heavy air about the manor as you head there. But unless anyone wants to do anything before, we can cut to the brunch where the group assembles.
I will just say, I think as the sun rises, Dier does go back to his room, warms up a bit, and rebraids his hair for the morning. So
Lucius puts on a slightly less fancy version of the suit he was wearing last night, but it's still all ruffles and there's no cape this time.
Jenna's doing really bad. She has changed into a different dress. This dress, basically doesn't show any skin and is sleeved all the way down, and she's wearing gloves as she usually does. She's done a valiant effort with her makeup to disguise the fact that she has not slept at all. She hasn't slept at all. And
Eric, Jenna would have people to do her makeup for her, you know.
No, but they're not here. We don't have those servants. Yeah.
Oh, I brought a couple.
Well, there's some house servants who would help if she wanted, but
I don't think she wants to be seen by anyone. I think she would do it herself.
God.
Yeah.
I had my people do my hair. I also had a good night's sleep.
Yeah, Aliana is probably one of the few people in the group who's actually slept well. And again, she's used to staying up and then having fall asleep, so this isn't new. She'll get ready, new day dress, something simple, less fancy than the day before, do it all on her own. She's always preferred that, even at the Venture Manor.
And
how's Sylvain doing, Ian?
Yeah, how's Sylvain?
I mean, he obviously did not sleep. Obviously, from a meta perspective, obviously did not sleep. But he has a lot of practice hiding the pain he's going through.
Wow. Okay, that's just the thing you said. All right, let's go to brunch.
Yeah. Jenna also has a lot of practice, and she's doing terrible at it.
Yeah, and Addison also joins.
Oh, good.
Oh. Okay.
And I guess if there's anything, we'll move into the scene. Is there anything anyone wanted to do on the way to brunch, or any other prep, or are we safe to kind of move? I just don't want to roll over. I think
Jenna's
anyone.
there first.
Okay.
At the brunch.
Mm.
I think she got there first.
I mean, with everything that's happened, Eliane would probably take a vial of bronze before she goes down, because Lucius knows, but she doesn't. This isn't a secret she wants everyone else to.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Pretty much no one else knows.
Even if they're on better terms. Tuck a couple others in her pockets just in case.
Sylvain would come in and have a seat with a cheery smile on his face, but Steph is kind of sitting beside him, head on Sylvain's lap, just looking up at his master. And Sylvain is probably just has his hand on Steph's head, giving scritches.
Jenna is sitting straight in a chair, but she's if you look closely, she's still shaking, and she's just staring at a wall and barely blinking ever.
Lucius would turn up late as he walks in. Is it like a buffet? Are we being served breakfast? Is there food already on the table?
There's food laid out that you can. I think normally there would be servants serving, but Solace wanted to give you guys privacy, so you're kind of like
cool.
Low staff.
Is there alcohol in the room?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna make myself a mimosa,
Beautiful.
and then I'm gonna
orange juice. But,
Oh yeah, do we have oranges?
There's a mimosa station just outside.
Perfect.
So a servant has prepared the mimosas.
I'll get mimosa on the way in.
It's made with vegetable juice.
Yeah. It's a carrot.
Mimosa.
Yeah, it's a carrot mimosa.
Perfect. No, there's debate on this. There might be fruit in the Final Empire that is produced differently than fruit as we know it.
We know there's lemons. There's a wob that there's lemons.
You broke my heart. You can give me vegetable mimosas.
Sure,
it's like a tomato juice. No, yeah. Nice.
I think a lot of us are going for something, whatever is the darkest caffeinated drink, be that strong tea. I don't know if they have coffee in the Final Empire, but some sort of drink that would help you wake up in the morning. And Dier will pour a vial of steel into it because he hasn't stopped burning all night. So
Jenna doesn't grab anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she doesn't grab anything for her plate.
So what are we telling Lord Solace?
I have been thinking about this all night. So, what do we know? Vasha wanted to kill the Ska.
Mm-hmm.
And the rebels, they wanted to stop him. But they only wanted to kill Vasha. But fire got out of hand, I suppose. Though Chess, well, I always had thought Chess was a rebel. I do still believe he is involved in the rebellion. And I am certain Julian was involved too. Julian needed to be at the Ilariel Manor. He said he would stop at nothing. I told him it would be dangerous. But he didn't listen. Never really listened to me.
Why did Julian need to be at the Ilariel Manor that night?
Because, Lucius, if he is Ska, he wanted to save the Ska. And so maybe he heard of this from Vasha.
I see.
And he wanted to stop them. And they were just all rebels the entire time.
That is a very serious accusation.
Is it? Jenna snaps and glares at Sylvain and says, "Is any of it untrue?"
Of course it is.
What specifically
put a hand
then?
on Jenna's arm to try to help her calm down a little bit.
What is untrue, Lord Sylvain? I would love if some of that was untrue. I would love that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only thing that makes sense in my head. But I agree. It is a very serious accusation. I was engaged to him. To Julian. And I'm not doing well right now. And so if any of that is untrue, I would very much like to know.
Dier might speak up if Sylvain doesn't.
I don't know anything because there isn't anything to know.
Oh, there's always things to know. And unless you can give us any reason to not think this, we have a Ska rebel sympathizer sat at the very table with us. And I'm going to look at Addison.
Jenna's now just staring at a wall, not Sylvain.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all getting a little distracted here, perhaps. After all, I don't think Lord Ilariel would want us to bring any wild theories about the sorts of things that his niece has been involved in, after all, right? And he's thinking very much like, we're here to protect Maevis. He doesn't really care what the truth is. He's thinking about, what do we need to tell Solus that's going to not put Maevis in danger? And I think he looks at Jenna and says, Now, I know that we've all had a very long night, and it's perhaps difficult to keep everything straight, but we know from the ministry that Chess was half Scar, and that's why he was involved in this whole affair and with the rebels. Yes?
Dear.
And like, he knows it's not true. He knows Jenna knows it's not true. But that's what they need to tell Solus, he thinks.
Dear. The Inquisitors will come here.
It's already solved. Everyone involved is already dead. There's nothing more to investigate.
In order to create the proper lie, we must know what the truth is.
Well, then we'd better get on it quick, because who knows when he's going to get here.
I think we have time. I think Solus has set this up for us, and I don't think he will rush us. But I do agree. We need to learn some things.
Dia and Eliane, our main person we're assuming Vasha was working for last night was Straff Venture, who I'm getting the impression that you guys don't get on in a way.
Maevis seemed to think it might be someone else, actually.
Yes, that's the impression I was getting.
I think it's the ministry. I think it's the Lord Prelon.
Why would the Lord Prelon send Vasha after Maevis?
I don't know. I think, well, the ministry paid for this manor to be rebuilt. And I think they wanted to cover up that the Ska burned the place down, make it an accident. And maybe they thought Maevis was a loose end. Maybe a Canton did that. I mean, if it is not Straff, and I do not believe it is Straff, given what Maevis said, well, who is more powerful than Lord and Lady Techiel, who would certainly not be involved, and Straff and Lord Solus? So doesn't it have to be the ministry?
What could possibly make them think that Maevis had anything to do with the Scar Rebellion? And he once again very pointedly looks at Addison.
Jenna turns to glare at Addison as well.
Do you have a question for me? That's what she'll say.
Wasn't that a question?
Why?
What would make the ministry think that Maevis was involved with the rebellion?
Tell us.
I don't think the ministry thought that.
What do you think the ministry thought then?
If the ministry wanted Maevis dead as a loose end, I think she'd be dead by now. I don't think they would have sent her brother to do something that they could easily get done themselves. I don't think they would break their own edict. I only know this from speaking with my cousin, but my understanding is the Lord Prelon was a lifelong friend of Lady Dianette and owed a great deal to her, and also is quite close with Lord Solus. So it would surprise me if she would address any issues with Solus or Maevis in the way you've described.
Thank you, Lady Addison. You make some valid points. I'm sorry.
We want to get to the bottom of this so we can all leave and get on with our lives. What we should be asking is, why didn't Maevis come out and say who she thought was behind this? What person or people would she be worried about voicing her suspicions of in this company?
Particularly after whoever it was presumably tried to have her killed.
If it isn't Straff, and it isn't the Ministry.
Isn't the Lord Prelon? There are many cantons.
Okay, yeah.
Your brother
Valid.
isn't in the Ministry.
He is in Orthodoxy as well. Fairly high ranked.
I keep coming back to this Straff point. Because he knew enough to take advantage of the situation. And clearly Charisse knew something too if she came to warn Maevis.
Twice,
Who
supposedly.
she's gonna try off just trying to like remind everyone of that information, but she still hasn't put things together to throw out any theory.
Why wouldn't Maevis just tell us?
But it wouldn't be Lacals. One of back during the House War, Larians and Lacals were close allies.
It seemed as though Maevis didn't want me to pull on certain strings. That I would not like what I found. I found some of it. Lady Addison, do you think Maevis fears me and what I would do with this information if I knew? Honestly. And Jenna isn't glaring at Addison. She's glaring off into space, not making eye contact with anyone.
Addison will say, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't know that Dier's got it yet, but I think I might have it.
Okay.
I don't.
Addison will say, I'm not sure that she fears you anymore necessarily, but I think she did.
Yes. Yes. Why wouldn't she tell us?
Can I talk out of character about who I think it is? Because I don't think Dier's figured it out.
Yeah, we need to talk out of character a bit.
I'm kind of confused. Jenna went
You're
out of
like-
rabbit hole. I don't know.
Patrine,
Like-
I think it's your mom.
What do you
I think
mean?
She's got a rivalry with Solus, and perhaps
Ooh.
thought that Solus was going to be there that night and saw an opportunity to try to maybe take out her brother, who she doesn't like. And if Maevis knew that your mom was behind it all, she maybe would not want to say that in your company.
Okay.
On
Huh.
the
Good
murder board.
theory, but
Yeah. On the murder
Murder
board,
board.
Patrine has a card. I was looking at the murder board. I'm like, Patrine has a
Are you
card.
sharing the murder board?
Yes, I think you guys have all seen it, right? I put
no.
it in.
Oh, well, like, in character,
Is
Oh,
Lucius
sorry.
sharing the murder board?
Let me work some stuff out before I work that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we get back in character.
Yeah. Okay, so Patrine, it says, then why? Makes no sense. How would she know? Or was Jenna protecting Julian / her reputation after the fallout? Which I don't think. I think so, because then it says Jenna acting alone because Jenna then took out Chess on orders in the Ministry, not because she was doing a cover-up. So,
Yeah.
Patrine, why? It makes no sense because how would she know? How would she know what? What does Patrine...
Oh, okay.
Does...
Oh,
Maybe it's just saying if
okay.
Patrine knows something, it makes sense that Patrine would have done it. So what would Patrine have known?
Was Patrine... So are we thinking, Alyx, in that line that Patrine was using the Ska Rebellion in this way? Like just utilizing them?
Maybe I need to pull the murder board up now.
Yeah.
Showing
Like,
on screen
I
again.
why
feel like
make
we're
no
so
sense?
close. I feel like we're so
I know.
close.
What?
Yeah.
Grace, where are you?
Sylvain is like going through
Yeah.
mysteries in his head, which is not his strong suit. And he's remembering a thing.
Oh.
There could be an interesting moment of you sharing the murder board to given Addison's here. Like, that might be useful information for Elian and Sylvain to perhaps know.
Okay.
Maybe Addison. So I just wanted to pitch that out there, potentially. I don't know.
Mhm.
Did Lucius go back and get the book in the morning?
No, I didn't, because I'm dumb.
He didn't say he did. So you're just working
God.
with a page.
What does Sylvain want to say? What does Ian? What
Okay. Okay, thank you. Lady Addison, Yesterday, a woman arrived at the door asking for Lady Alariel. And Maevis came over and dealt with the situation. And I saw recognition in that woman's eyes. Maevis was talking to informants. Do you know if she met with this woman? And if so, what about?
I'm sorry, Sylvain, I don't. Maevis didn't share much of this with me. Lord Lucius,
Yes.
last night you seemed quite informed. Did Maevis tell you anything about her investigations?
Matt's saying, Ben, go get the book. Where are...
Or bring out the page.
I think we might need some DM prompting for things, so it is useful that Addison's here for
yes.
that.
Miss Tenebrium. Maevis unfortunately did not share her investigations with me. However, I did do some myself. And now I'm like, do I go get the book? Should I go get the book? I'll go get the book. Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah?
I say go
Yes,
for
of
it.
course.
Yeah, cool.
So what does Lucius say in character?
And in fact, there's actually a loose end I could go pick at. Jenna, can I borrow you? We'll be right back. I need to get something from my room.
Loose ends. Let's go.
We head back up to the thing. Is there anyone in the hallway with me in Maevis's room?
No. Opens downstairs.
I gotta open her door.
It opens.
Okay, I was worried it was locked. That's why I brought Jenna.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Cool. I go in. Is the book and the pages? Is the room untouched, or has it been cleaned, or?
The book and pages are gone.
Oh,
We're too late. Somebody got it. Oh, we got the page.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, Maevis is alive. It's like, hey, go get the book out of my room.
I'll say the book is still there.
Oh, the book's still there. Sorry. Okay, I grabbed the book.
Is still there.
Oh.
The pages are gone.
The pages are gone. The book's still there. Cool.
Yeah.
I grabbed the book.
Okay.
You look around. You see the book on the nightstand, closed, but there's no pages scattered everywhere. There's no pile of pages. Those are all gone.
Cool. I'm gonna grab the book. I'm gonna open it. I assume my pages are still in there.
Yep, your pages are still
Are
there.
the pages that Maevis hadn't torn out last night, are they still in there?
They're gone. It's a book of amateur
poems.
love poetry.
Just amateur poetry. God.
Well, you succeeded in your quest.
I completed my objective for the weekend, guys.
Congratulations, Lucius. That'll be some advancement points.
I achieved my character's destiny.
Wow, nice. Very good.
Um,
Lucius, what was supposed to be here? Is that it?
No. Maevis was using a book of some writings, and I put it in my coat, of mine as like a travel diary style thing. There had been.
That's where you got the chart
Yeah.
you showed yesterday.
Yeah, there was more, but I didn't want Maevis to know I'd been snooping. So I left the rest stake on my part.
Perhaps Addison cleaned up?
Well, let's go ask her, shall we? I can go back down.
Right.
And then I'm going to grab another mimosa on the way back in. But I haven't finished the first one. I've now got two now.
Dual wielding mimosas.
Dual
Nice.
wielding mimosas.
Very good.
Well, as I walk back in, I'm like, well, that loose end got snipped. And then actually, yeah, I'll pull the book out and be like, Addison, you ever seen this before?
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm. Did you see it last night by any chance?
I did.
And what did you do with it?
I had a message to deliver to Maevis last night, and when I got to her room, she was going through this book and tearing out certain pages.
What message did you need to deliver?
Addison is going to look till Sylvain for permission. Just briefly.
Why do I get the feeling that Ian and Matt have been up to something this whole time, but because Sylvain's a big himbo, he's just not fucking said anything.
Oh, and you know what message this is.
I know exactly which message this is, which is why I had Dier ask about
it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I don't have the words right now because I'm dealing with some stuff. But Sylvain would say something like he would try to play it off as like she was doing a favor for me. Like it's not relevant.
And what happened to the pages that got pulled out?
She asked me to finish pulling out the pages that were her writing when the time for her meeting with Jenna came. And so I started doing that. But while I was looking out the window, I saw the attack, and that was the last I saw of the journal. I left it.
So you haven't been in her room since then?
I haven't.
Someone else got to them first. Okay. Well, the only one that survived was this one, and I'll just flick it in the air. Lackadaisically. And land where it wants.
The World Hopper was told to look at that book. They told
they took
World
it!
Hopper has the pages.
Oh, you. Okay. I'm less worried if that's who got a hold of it.
Yes, I've now shared the murder board with the rest of them.
Okay.
I will say, if anybody has...
Addison will say, I haven't seen this before.
Big surprise there.
Lucius, may I see it? Like more than just... And so she'll lay it out in front of her and she'll start like looking over everything and like paying attention. And obviously her mother's name is gonna jump out at her. Like,
yeah.
Does anyone know what mother had to do with this? Why is there that note that says just like Fedrian?
And how much does Dier know?
Nothing. Dier knows nothing. Haven't we established this?
Are you sure, Dier? You seem to have kept several things.
It might
I'm not
be something you
trying to.
don't... You're not intentionally keeping secret.
I mean, our mother died when we were very young. I was 8. I can't imagine Elian remembers. There was something about her allomancy was revealed or was threatened to be revealed. People don't talk about it. Nobody ever wanted to talk about it, but I got the sense that she did something reckless and got herself killed. But it was forever ago. I can't imagine how relevant it would be to this.
Didn't Maevis say yesterday that Charisse was warning her about Straff?
Yes,
she did.
So if Charisse's warning was just like Fedrian, I think you guys may have more issues with your cousin than you may already have.
Matt, can Jenna make a wits roll?
Sure. Why don't we do a round of wits?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do a round of wits.
Okay.
Guys, I'm so proud of you. You're doing very well.
I have a pitch for you, Matt.
What?
I have a pitch for you.
Okay.
Sylvain, not smart.
No.
But he is lucky. Can I roll spirits instead?
Whoa.
You can... So you're asking, does Sylvain luck into knowing something?
Yes.
Or having a realization at this moment?
Yes.
You can spend spirits.
Okay.
To roll spirits.
Did
our standings refresh?
Did standings refresh?
They did. Your standings refreshed.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Finally.
And you spend. I'm spending it, but I still.
You roll your full amount. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say the spirits roll will change the character of the information I give.
Yes.
But
it's just 5 dice better than 2 dice.
Yes. Can I add rumor mill to my wits roll just because rumor mill, I'm good at making connections.
Like cracking, making connections. Yeah.
I get 4 dice.
Can I add information acquisition?
Yeah.
My 4 dice. We're doing a challenge difficulty.
Just put it as 1. It'll be a sliding scale.
Cool. I got a 0.
Nice.
Great.
Verónica, you're next.
Okay, so
Which just realizes nothing.
Okay, go ahead, Eliane.
Okay. 3s and 2 nudges, and I have another nudge banked. I think I'm gonna go for it.
Bump to a 4?
Bump it to a 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Are we just all gonna do our rolls and then you'll say things, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next is Ian.
Okay. So solving this mystery would be of great benefit to his family. May my destiny apply.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if empathetic fits here. Okay. That's 6 dice. One's in a nudge. I'll bank the nudge.
Alyx.
Okay.
Can I use shore up loose ends?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 5 dice for him.
Ooh, very nice. The venture's rolling well.
Maybe we'll learn some venture things. Nice.
And Eric.
Okay. Do you think my drive, tragedy, or destiny applies, Matt? I don't know. I feel like these are all kind of related.
Yeah.
Or maybe
you
drive
can add a dice. You can add a dice for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
Nice. Yay.
Jenna got 5.
I'm viscerally disinclined to cheer for Jenna. Nah.
So, Matt, you can't nudge anything if you already got 5s, right?
No.
Yeah, you can nudge a success.
Oh, you can nudge success, yeah. Just
okay.
with one nudge.
So use one of the nudges?
Yeah.
To nudge a success?
You would use a nudge from that roll.
Okay, sure. And then I can keep the other one and bank the other one?
Sure, you can bank the other one.
Okay, cool. Let's do that.
Okay.
Jenna, Teravangian moment. Let's go.
Yeah. So, Lucius, you've been staring at this for a while, and this actually makes sense, though. You've kind of puzzled out what you can from this. It raises a lot of questions, but you don't have a lot of personal knowledge that would help you kind of sort out the murder board.
Yes. Scar seemed to be involved. I don't know anything about Scar.
Yeah. You've kind of taken this as far as you can go on your own. We'll go in lowest to highest. Sylvain, you rolled spirits. So what I'm going to say is you got a 1 spirits. You're having trouble following this as well. But something is Julian very well.
I do, yes.
You don't think Julian was involved with the rebellion at all.
Of course not. Yeah.
You know that Julian might have had some doubts about his parentage.
Yes.
But
I do know that.
You do know that, but to your knowledge, one of your best, if not your best friend, was genuine in his ambitions to become a prominent nobleman, was largely genuine in his romantic feelings for Jenna, respected her feelings for the ministry and her beliefs. And in terms of Ska or rebellion sympathies, what you know of Julian, I think, is just that he was maybe, because of his doubts, a compassionate person towards them. But Sylvain doesn't think that Julian specifically had ulterior motives in this. You think it really was about the successful business proposal. And that's based on your vibes and your connection to Julian. So right away, when there's things on this note about the rebels and it says, what about Julian? You're thinking, like, Julian wasn't involved with this. He couldn't have been. Eliane, you get a 4, and Yer gets a 5. I might do you guys together because you have some overlapping knowledge, if that's okay, and you rolled similarly. You're looking at this, and it says, just like Fedrienne. It also says, what about Vasha and Blythe? You think about this, and you think about Straff and who he is as a person. And dear, you remember a time not that long ago when Straff became House Lord, and how before that, Renholm, your father, was kind of a mentor figure to Straff and to Vasha, and they kind of were connected. And you remember how when Straff got what he wanted and became Lord, Renholm all of a sudden seemed not to matter anymore. And Straff just let him go like he was nothing and didn't blink an eye about it. And then you think about how when your mother became inconvenient and did something potentially scandalous after her allomancy secret was revealed, she was also just kind of let go. And it was just smoothed over. And no one really blinked an eye about it. And you think, even as good as friends as Straff and Vasha were, would Straff really blink an eye about letting Vasha go if it benefited him in some other way?
Interesting.
Eliane, you were close with Charisse, so you kind of clue to some of the things Dier's cluing, but you maybe don't have quite as much insight. I'll say Charisse told you once that you remember her telling you that she was very grateful for Lady Dianette because she was a voice of moderation and was, as one of the few people who still remembered the aftermath of the Great House War, was kind of a peacekeeper among the leaders of the other great houses. And you know that Charisse felt that Dianette kept Straff in check to some extent, and that without her, Straff might become more aggressive in his policies and his moves. Jenna, something twigs in your memory, and that is when you first arrived with your mother. You remember your mother saying to Dier, tell your cousin that we should do lunch soon. There are things we need to discuss. And that strikes you as odd, because seeing this dotted line between Petrine and Straff on this chart is what kind of makes you remember that. Back in episode 1.
You're so sneaky, Matt.
Because you're wondering, what would my mother want to discuss with Straff? Another thing that occurs to you is, if Straff was somehow hijacking the rebellion's hit on Vasha to kind of do whatever he wanted to do, how would he have done that? What opportunity was he exploiting? And then you look at Maevis's notes, which say why makes no sense. How would she know? And you think You know your mother would do anything to protect your house and protect you. And now you've developed some suspicions about Julian. And you think if Petrine found out about Julian's potential parentage and knew that you were about to announce an engagement, you think about how disturbed you were by that possibility. And so you think to yourself, what would my mother do to cover this up?
Right. Okay. So, right.
Whoa!
So, Petrine. So Straff found out about Julian and Chess, maybe, right? Told Petrine, hey, Julian's like a Halfscar, and Petrine's like, that dude's about to be announced as engaged to my daughter. So Petrine helps organize, and Straff help, a hit at the Ilarial estate during that evening, taking advantage of the Scar Rebellion.
The Ska were going to do something, and they kind of twisted it their own way.
Yes.
And the opportunity that Straff was exploiting was his relationship with Chess, I think. That's how that happened.
Chess was his bastard.
Yeah.
Yes.
And was perhaps taking venture orders.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so why would that then result in Vasher trying to kill Maevis last night? Was Maevis getting close to the truth of all of this?
I definitely think that Maevis was getting close to the truth of all of this.
Yeah.
I want to save the exact wording for in-character stuff. But
I mean, this is all on the
Charisse
record,
might
right?
have given her more information than Maevis let on. Charisse knew a lot of things.
You've had these realizations in character, so maybe let's switch.
Yes, good idea. Good idea.
Brainstorming to in-character brainstorming.
Yeah.
So you've had these realizations. You're looking at the map together. So what does anyone say?
Sylvain would probably start with, there's no way Julian was involved with any of this. The business deal, he and my uncle spent months preparing that. There's no way that was just a ploy. And it's not the kind of person Julian was. He was a very passionate man.
He was. Sylvain, do you... And her voice is it's not really cold. It's just kind of empty. It's like, you truly believe that to be the case?
Yes. And I also know that while you can be an intimidating woman, Lady Jenna, he might have sometimes been afraid.
Yes.
Never stopped loving you.
Oh, thank you, Lord Sylvain. Thank you. Truly.
I think Dier is coming to some realizations, perhaps, that Straff might have had a hand in his mother's death, which is not something he would have known, but is sensing just how much Straff gets up to these sorts of things. And I think he taps his mother's name and says, I think it is becoming abundantly clear that there is no one who is too valuable for Straff to not take an opportunity to get rid of if he saw a chance to better his own position. I mean, it doesn't matter now. She's dead. Our mom was the venture Mistborn. That he would risk such a valuable asset just to get ahead a little bit. I don't think it matters how close he and Vasha might have been. Nobody's sacred to him.
The night of the fire, I was at Keep Venture before Charisse came here, and I overheard her arguing with Straff. It wasn't common. She didn't like to. She'd avoid him like I did. Play the part of the perfect wife. Which, knowing Straff, it makes all the sense in the world. But she knew something, and she was threatening to leave him. Straff retaliated by saying that if she left, she'd be abandoning Elend. And he'd try to turn Elend into another version of himself, to punish her. She left in tears, presumably going to the Ilarial Manor, but she made me promise to look after Elend, and just said that she needed to talk to her sister. I would not be surprised if that argument has something to do with whatever opportunity he saw in the lead up to the fire, and that's why she was going to warn Maevis.
What did Straff want? Dear, my mother. She wanted you to tell Straff that they would have lunch soon. Yes? Why would they have lunch?
I think he gives Jenna sort of like a long, slow look and like taps that little dotted line on the paper of how is their alignment refire between Straff and Petrine.
How did I miss that? I've looked at this paper so long and I've just blanked on it every time.
Jenna.
Straff always uses an opportunity to get ahead, dear. That is certainly true. He had an asset that night with chess. If Straff knows that chess is a bastard, but not half Ska, then, and if Straff and Petrine chat, would Petrine know that Julian was half Ska?
We work together.
Working together. Matt!
Mm-hmm.
What were Petrine's feelings towards Julian that Jenna would clearly know about?
Petrine, I think, was loath to tell Jenna who she should marry. I think she wanted Jenna to make her own choice in that. I think Petrine understood that Jenna would need to marry below her station in order to keep her place in the line of succession. So she understood that Julian fit those criteria. But other than that, I don't think she was like psyched about him necessarily, but I think she saw that he checked some boxes. So she understood. So it was kind of neutral as far as Jenna knows.
You all know that I would do anything to advance House Techiel. And who made me that way? My mother did. She would do anything. I wasn't protecting Julian. But perhaps Petrine, if she found out that Julian was not full noble, what a blemish that would be on House Techiel for my engagement to be announced to Julian. And maybe she and Straff, along with Chess, maybe Chess was taking orders from Straff to use the Ska to make sure Julian died. And perhaps that was why it wasn't just Vasha who died. It was a much wider fire to make sure Julian was eliminated.
A chance to take out a number of loose ends.
Perhaps.
An innocent bystanders.
Indeed. Indeed, Sylvain.
Addison will interject for a moment and will say, we're missing the answer, though, to one question. which is the question that Maevis has been asking in all of this. Whether Chess loved her. I observe them together sometimes, and he was... Well, you all know how people could be with Maevis. He was obsessed. Maevis might have doubts now, but he was intense, possessive. They fought. Something must have changed for him to do something that would potentially kill her and hurt her this much. And she points to the line between Chess and Dier that says, "Did he know?" And she's like, I don't think this is saying, did you know about her and Chess, Dier? I think she was wondering, did Chess know about her relationship with you?
And he's like really stricken. You think this might have happened because of me? Because she and I were...
No, I don't think it's because of you. I think
if Chess had reason to doubt her, that he might have been willing to put her in harm's way, that...
Jenna puts a shaky hand of hers on Dier's and tries to grab the hand tightly.
It's possible. I mean, we were still seeing one another, presumably, while this was going on. I didn't know there was anyone else in the picture for her, and it wasn't... Neither one of us ever had any exclusivity. It wasn't serious, but...
Maybe Chess didn't know that.
Maybe.
And Chess felt jealous, and when there was an opportunity...
If someone used that as an opportunity to turn him.
And perhaps Straff used that moment to use Chess for this.
And I'm gonna say at that point, there's a knock on the door.
I like wave for someone to go open the door.
And a servant kind of ducks their head in when Sylvain says, "Who is it?" Because you have no servants in here to open the door.
Exactly, yeah. I assumed that.
And a servant comes in and says, "Excuse me, Freeland Verity has requested everyone's attendance in the atrium. The roads are clear, so carriages are finally starting to get ready to leave. But before everyone leaves, she's had word from the ministry and wishes to make an announcement to everyone assembled."
Very good.
Oh, I just had a nasty thought.
So, do you guys go down to the atrium?
Yeah.
I just want to say my thing out of character, so in case it happens,
sure. Then you can call it. Yeah.
Yes. So the Lord Freeland Draga made the announcement here, but I don't think it was going to become official until she made it back to Luthadel and did all of the paperwork. Did Vasha kill her on the way back to Luthadel so that never happened? So he could attack Maevis because technically the restriction never happened.
I will say how the edict wouldn't work that way. It would already be in place.
Vasha also mentioned the edict specifically.
Yeah.
As we live in the room, does Edison go last or first?
She just comes with the rest of the group.
Okay. I would like to pull her to the side before we leave the room.
Okay.
And I would just want to say, because I have one question that's really important to me, the player, and I'm going to go full force, you still haven't answered who you let in the night of the fire. And unless you tell me who you let in, I'm going to talk to Verity and let her know I'm suspecting you're as a rebel sympathizer. And if you want me to make a roll, I'm happy to make a roll on this and add blackmailer to my roll. Like
this will be a contest.
Nasty.
I'm like, I feel like this is my last opportunity, and I want to know. I need to know.
Yeah.
You're all the worst.
I need to know. This is something I care about.
So this is a, I'm going to say charm roll. You're using your force of personality to lean on her. And actually, I'm going to say this is a combat.
Combat?
I'd like an emotional mental conflict.
Yes.
Oh, dang.
So we're going to see if you can inflict damage, and if you can inflict damage on Addison's willpower, then she will maybe be more likely to give in to your blackmailing tactic.
Support her in any way.
I don't think so.
I kind of pulled it to the side. I maybe you would have seen me do that. I don't know.
So yeah, you roll first as the attack, and then she's going to roll to defend.
Cool. I'm rolling my 5 dice, and I rolled a 0.
Failed.
A big fat all-round thing.
The dice know. The dice know.
Dang.
Very upset.
Yeah, me too.
The one thing I care about.
Addison's going to roll. Okay. Yeah. She's good. So Addison kind of stays cool, and she says, I think any ministry attention you put on me will also attach to your bestie, Maevis. The person was no one you would know. They were obviously involved with the rebellion, but all I know is I wasn't working directly for him or with him. He just asked for a favor to be let in.
You still working for him with him now?
No.
Okay. I'll leave. I'll just walk off. I don't like Alice.
I'm still in love with her. I still love her.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. We just took a break. Veronica's going to be a little slow getting back, but she's listening, and we're going to move on because we're close to the finale.
Yes.
So, you as a group head down to the atrium, and everyone's gathering. You see, Pen and Rianne whispering, like everyone's kind of buzzing. In Verity, and you also see there's a flurry of activity as now bags are being carted out. It looks like people are loading up, getting ready to leave. Oh, and you also see there's couriers and people delivering messages. It seems like, there was kind of an isolation about the keep, but that's been broken now that the roads are open. And so people are getting information from home. And Verity calls everyone to attention and says, "Attention, everyone. I have received an official proclamation from the Canton of Orthodoxy for immediate release. The Steel Ministry sadly announces the tragic passing of the former Lord Prelan, whose carriage was overturned in the blizzard during her return journey to Luthadel yesterday evening. On the advice of the High Prelans, our Lord Ruler has chosen High Prelan Tavidian Tekiel to assume leadership of his church. The acting Lord Prelan will be formally proclaimed later this week in Fountain Square. So please look out for the details of that ceremony. The acting Lord Prelan sends his harsh condemnation to the perpetrators behind the alleged breach of the ministry's edict this weekend. The blasphemer, Vasha, formerly of House Ilariel, apparently went on to make an attack on the life of Lady Petrine Tekiel, but was happily felled by her Haze Killer guards. The Steel Inquisitors have been charged with uncovering any co-conspirators or employers, and they will be contacting the guests in the coming days for interviews. So be prepared for their call and remain at your current place of residence until you have been provided with leave to travel outside of the central dominance. All that being said, speaking with Lord Solace, and based on Lady Patrine's account of the attack, it seems that Vasha was a known misogynist and might have been born ill will against the female members of his former house. It's possible he was acting alone in all of this, but the Inquisitors will get to the bottom of it, and the acting Lord Preland sends his assurances that justice will be served. And she'll kind of nod and say, with that, everyone is free to go. Lord Solace will kind of hastily stand and say, yes, I'm apologize everyone for the ugly business this weekend, but I hope everyone was able to enjoy themselves somewhat, and see you all soon. And you can see he's kind of digesting everything. And with that, people are going to start heading for the door. So what do you all do?
Do we need to report into Solace what we believe happened?
Yeah. Sylvain is going to try and find Faisal.
Okay.
Jenna's going to go to Dier.
Okay.
Some things.
So yeah, you will go. We'll do Ian and Faisal first. Lucius, do you have anything?
Other than reporting into Solace, but I think that we want to do that as together.
Up to you. You don't have to do it together.
Sylvain is going to try to find Faisal to make his report.
Yeah. Okay. So
he's
if you
charged to do this,
if you make your report to Faisal, I'll make mine to Solace, and then these two can.
Okay. Sounds good. So let's do Ian first. So you're able to find Faisal. He's kind of overseeing the loading of the carriages. And he says, yes, Lord Sylvain.
Basically, I was trying to go through Faisal because can't just go directly to Solace was my impression.
Yeah.
Because I was told to hey, go talk to Faisal if you need to make a report.
Yeah. No, this is fine. Yeah.
So I just tell Faisal I want to make a report to Lord Solace.
And what would you like to report to Lord Ilariel?
Are there a bunch of people around here?
He'll move aside,
okay.
So you can speak privately.
Then Sylvain would basically tell the things, but he would spin it as he would be very accurate to all of the things we figured out, except for Julian, where he's he would spin it as accusations were made that were obviously false, but nevertheless acted upon.
Does he share all the stuff about Straff and Petrine's involvement, perhaps, too?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Faisal will nod and say, thank you, Lord Sylvain. We will work on corroborating what you've found. And if you're correct, well, I'll admit that from what limited knowledge I have of you, if what you're saying is true and you've managed to uncover this all, it will speak very well or very highly of you that you've been able to accomplish this. We'll be in touch with you and your aunt.
And Sylvain will leave Faisal to his business.
Okay. So Lucius is looking for Solace.
Yes.
Solace is kind of busy saying goodbye to people, trying to smooth things over, and he'll be like, Lord Lucius, excellent.
Lord Aurelial.
Do you need anything from me? Again, so sorry about all this unpleasant business.
It's no problem whatsoever. I thought we could have a little chat. I think we may have gotten to the bottom of some questions.
Yes, Lord Lucius. Why don't we just step to the side here?
Good idea.
So he'll kind of take you off to the side again and have a bit of a private conversation.
So he will do a similar style of report. However, his will be way cattier. It will put everyone in the worst light possible. And he won't necessarily. He'll color everything as rumors and like I heard they were saying this about Julian and Straff with the child and all this kind of thing.
Oh.
And then I'll finish it by kind of saying Vasha was, and so if Vasha attacked Patrine last night, it's clearly Vasha blames this whole thing on Patrine. So, I'm just telling you what I think happened.
Thank you, Lord Lucius. You care for my niece, yes?
Of course, she's one of my bestest, oldest friends.
If Vasha is truly dealt with, I think what would be best for everyone is if this nasty business was put behind us as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. It's a mess, don't you think?
Yes. I wonder... I get the sense that you're an adept miller of the rumor machine.
You could say that.
I wonder if you could put your talents to use in leaving things as Vasha was working alone, so that our friends at the ministry have no reason to continue their investigation now that the danger is dealt with and the issue is solved.
I completely agree. The less I have to interact with any ministry, the better. And I think we all are in agreement with that.
Good man, Lord Lucius.
It was a lovely, lovely party, except for the part where you're with Maevis. But it's a lovely party.
Well, I'm glad you were able to enjoy yourself somewhat, and I promise next year's will be better.
Well, let's find out. Hopefully. And then I'll make my way out.
Okay.
Can I ask, are they still putting the story out there that Maevis did pass away last night and that Vasha successfully killed her?
There's no one has revealed Maevis survived that you guys can hear.
Interesting. All right.
Yet.
Is she still alive?
So let's move to Deer and Jenna then.
I think he'll approach her and say, well, give my congratulations to your brother for his advancement. I'm sure his investigation into who might have been behind this will perhaps be interesting.
Indeed. Walk with me, dear.
Always.
And Jenna leads, and Dier is a little behind, and they walk to somewhere a bit more private. And Jenna just says to Dier, I don't believe for a second that Vasha came to Patrine to kill her.
No, she was ready to kill him when he came back to report.
Perhaps.
What are you going to do about all of this?
Dear.
Perhaps it would be better of me to ask. What would you like me to do about all of this?
So Jenna still has the empty look on her face. She does not have game face on. And she's sort of gotten her shakes under control, but she holds Dier's hand tenderly and says, Dier, there's something I am sorry we haven't been able to talk as much as I wished. I do need to say something to you, if that is all right. And I admit I'm very afraid to do so. When people see the truth of me, they do not like it. You've seen a side to me, yes, and that is very good, but I don't have to tell you if you don't want.
Jenna, I've never been afraid of you. even when I was certain you were about to try to kill me for witnessing you that night. And I hope you would know at this point that you don't have anything to fear from me.
I just worry you'll look at me differently. Because I know when you look at me as we do our work, you want someone to take care of everything and be the mastermind. But dear, I am very much not perfect, and I fear you want perfection of me, and I am very unwell right now. I do not quite know what our next move is. I wanted to say that you are magnificent on the lake, and she just sort of she just sort of trails off and doesn't quite know what to say.
I don't know that we ever would have gotten to the bottom of all of what's happened these past few days, these past few years, if you had not been keeping everyone on track and sorting through this entire tangled mess of it all. You are brilliant, and I don't need you to be perfect. Perhaps it was unfair of me to expect that of you. It's become painfully obvious these past few days that my desire to make a mess of my life, to commit to nothing of substance has, it's landed me here. My best friend in the whole world thought that I wanted to kill her. My cousin has apparently been on the verge of having me assassinated for who knows how long, and I think perhaps if I want to survive the year, I'm going to need to act somewhat differently in the days to come. And I would prefer to do so at your side if you would have me. But I know that I am a reputational risk. I know that I can be reckless and I don't always think things through, but I'm willing to try. I love you, Jenna. I would do anything for you. I don't know if I can keep... I may not have venture for much longer. If Straff really wants to get rid of me, he's going to. And I don't have anyone else, so...
Jenna...
I just need someone. She doesn't have to be perfect, but I would really, really like it to be you.
Jenna holds Dier tight, and she's shaking.
He's shaking a little too, I think. He's afraid.
As long as you want me, and not just what I represent. Do you want me specifically?
Yes. Always. Always. And I think he has a moment where he does another little, she's seen this expression from him before. He thinks of something. Something occurs to him. And I think he gives her a very serious look and says, I know I've already given you 2 proposals this weekend, but if I were to find a way to marry into Techiel and renounce my inheritance, would you have me?
Dear, I would really like that. And I need someone who can take me as I am here. I think I've made a grave mistake trying to be perfect all the time and worry about my reputation. And perhaps I could be maybe a bit more reckless, slightly. I accept, dear. There is no one else I would want at my side, dear. And I think I played the game too much to realize I sometimes have blinders on, as you know, from today and yesterday. And
I can't exactly fault you for that, given all the things I've clearly missed.
I would say, given the grave matters here and the grave matters with Straff, I do not mean to put off a public proposal and public engagement, but you must admit we'd need to be very careful here for your life.
For certain, but and he looks actually quite pleased with himself all of a sudden. Like, one is like, Jenna actually agreed to do this. And I think he says, I have a bit of an idea about that.
Yes.
Of course, Straff isn't going to be pleased about it, but he's already clearly not thrilled with me, so how much worse could it get?
I wonder if we could kind of fade, like, instead of going into the plan.
I think he starts to tell Jenna a little bit about his... Well, I think the last thing he says before he starts to explain it is he looks back at the house and says, there's only one problem. I think I'm going to need my sister's help. And then we can fade to black as he begins to share his idea.
So,
and of course, it's Jenna and Dier that get the wholesome ending.
We'll see how wholesome it is.
I could have imagined for Jenna Dier.
You know, there's a lot going on still. Not to rush things too much, but we're going to do a couple quick character scenes as each of you are leaving. So I think we'll start with Dier. So as you're leaving or getting ready to go, Dier, what do you do now that you've had this conversation with Jenna?
He is going to go find his sister and prepare to perhaps eat some crow. So, he's going to try to see if Elion will speak with him alone, perhaps.
And I think that after all this, they're on much better terms. And so she's not going to be like when she was at the beginning, where she wouldn't have done this just for any reason at all. Fine, as long as, so that they can speak privately, but people are still around.
Yeah, at least where they maybe will not be overheard.
Exactly.
And I think she can see on his face, like, that really sharp, nasty, subtle threat sort of vibe that she's gotten from him a lot is sort of just gone. He is really genuinely asking to have a word with her. And I think if perhaps they're waiting for their carriage the venture carriage to be brought around. Because I think there was a carriage sent with like their things, even though he didn't take one.
Yeah. A carriage neither of you took.
The venture carriage was not used on the way here.
They'll need it on the way back. We gotta set it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think he sort of draws himself up, and she can see that like he's struggling with what he has to say because he doesn't do apologies very well. But he takes a deep breath and says, "It has been brought quite resoundingly to my attention that I have been a less than stellar brother to you these past few years, honestly. And I always hated it when Vasha was mean and dismissive to Maevis. I always used to think, how could he treat her that way? How could he not see how incredible she is? And to look back and realize that I have ended up doing almost exactly the same thing with you is harrowing. Honestly, this weekend, I thought when I burned your invitation, there would be no way for you to possibly get to this party. And he gives a little shrug like, yeah, I'll just admit it, whatever. And now I have to live with the knowledge that if you hadn't outsmarted me and found your way to this party, I was so furious when I saw you here initially. But if you hadn't, Maevis might very well be dead. So, I'm sorry. And thank you for being better than me in a lot of ways. I don't know what I would have done if I'd lost her. And I regret how things have been between us lately. We've got enough danger in our house. I shouldn't have made myself a danger to you.
She's gonna give him a small smile. Like, apology accepted. I know you went through a lot these past few years. And I wasn't always super supportive when it came to Father's rages. There were many times that I just left you there too, in my mind. At the time, I guess, get what you deserved for the way you were acting around Father and Straff, but that only soured the relationship between us and what we used to have in the years previous to the fire and Straff becoming House Lord. And I think that this weekend you've also changed. I hope from now on you can learn from these experiences and make a conscious effort to be better siblings to each other. I mean, after all, we only have ourselves left now that Father's gone.
Well, change is a funny thing, and I somehow suspect I'm not at the end of it yet. But on that note, there was a bit of a favor I had to ask you about Father, actually. You see, and I think he glances over his shoulder to try to look at Jenna real quick, now that he knows that Elian is aware of their real relationship. I have a suspicion I might find Lady Techiel might be considering accepting one of my many proposals to her very soon. And, I have a feeling that while our cousin might not exactly be thrilled to have me slip out from under the Venture household, I just get the sense that our father would be so supportive of me renouncing my inheritance and would be terribly cooperative with that whole process, I mean, after all, it worked so well for him marrying into Venture when he chose our mother. How could he not support such an excellent match? But if I am going to be a Techiel, that means that I won't be in the household anymore. And Father's been working on that new contract recently, and I think perhaps he could use your assistance in figuring out how to manage it if you were so inclined. And in return, well, you were always very good at finding out when Straff was sending me out on missions. I can't imagine he's going to be terribly pleased about me going behind his back like this. If you were perhaps to give me a word of warning if you were to send anyone my way, I would be terribly appreciative, Elian.
And so this favor that Dier is asking,
it's a big one.
No, it's a big one, but it basically solves exactly what Elian was here to do, which is figure out a way for Dier not to ruin their branch of House Venture, and in the meantime, just get away from his threats. And so he's clearly not threatening her anymore. Everything, really.
I think he does give her one of his original little sharp smiles, but this time it's more the smile of like a co-conspirator, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. So she's gonna say, I hope that you're right, brother, and can accept your proposal. I haven't known about it long, your relationship, but I can see that you care for each other. And this does solve that little problem.
I can't imagine you'll be too heartbroken to have me out of the house.
Like, not gonna reply to that directly, but just gonna be like give him a look that says, like, I think we've worked out enough of our issues that it's not gonna be that toxic environment anymore. But, I mean, she is glad in a way, you know? Of course, I'll help you work this out. If you have a plan eventually, like after all this, for say Nin not to have to keep pretending, because I don't know how long we can keep that up in front of Straff. I think this is the perfect solution.
I leave that all in your hands. However you wish to deal with the situation, he can be yours to command. Though it is probably a good idea to get rid of Dad sooner rather than later. Just, if you could make it something humiliating, like just a little bit undignified for me. I will say, are you going to be all right up against Straff? Alone, practically, in our house. I mean, he'll find you more pleasant to deal with than he has dealt with me, and I have a suspicion he'll underestimate you too. But
yeah,
he is dangerous.
Hope that is the case. I think I have somewhat of a pathway for how to deal with him in mind. Thanks to Charisse. But I would appreciate that, just like I will warn you if he sends someone after you. We can keep talking and figure out how to deal with him if anything adventure arises, even if there is a possibility you might become a Techiel.
I may not be a Venture for much longer, but I'll always be your brother. And I think I'm going to try to do a better job of that in the days to come.
Okay. So maybe we'll leave that scene there. Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yep.
Eliane, since you kind of got a bit of this was kind of a joint moment, if it's all right with you, I'm just going to kind of summarize something else that happens before you leave. And that is, you're approached by one of the new contacts that you made at the party, Kenton Hott. He apologizes for not speaking of this sooner, but he wasn't sure if he could trust you, but you kind of convinced him of that during your last interaction. And he says, I had to get my courage up. I just like reading. I'm not really caught up in this stuff, but your cousin-in-law, Charisse, and I, and you can see he's like sweating bullets. And he'll say, she shared an interest in pre-ascension times with me. And so we would talk about books and exchange some letters. She said if anything happened to her, I should give this to you. But I didn't know how to approach you, so I've just been keeping it for the last 2 years. And you can see he's kind of like panicked. And he'll give Eliane a note, a letter, and it's from Charisse, and it outlines some of the concerns that have been identified about Straff, but folded within the package is a book that Eliane remembered Charisse showing her once. It's a book that the title on the cover is Weather Patterns of the Northern Dominance, but it's commonly also known as The Book of False Dawn by Delos Couvre. And she asks for you, if anything happens to her in the letter, to look out for Elend and to make sure he becomes a man that both you and she can be proud of. And so that's Charisse's little mission for Eliane. And then
that's adorable.
We can.
It's so cute.
I know. Also, the moment you said reading and books, and I was like, oh, that's where I should have figured it. Should have.
That's fine. Yeah. So after Eliane receives that note, the venture carriage is ready to go. So Dier and Eliane, you have the opportunity to get on the carriage if you would like.
I think Dier goes and opens the door to sort of help Eliane inside, being rather gentlemanly. And I think he pauses and says, would you like me to ride with you, or I could always keep an eye out from above? Seems like bad things have been happening to carriages lately, and I'd rather not anything happen to ours.
I guess we'll have a chance to talk about your plan more extensively at home, and I do think it's a good idea.
And I think he will very quickly bow a little bit, kiss the back of her hand, and say, I'll see you at the keep then. And shut the door behind her.
So the venture carriage takes off with Dier keeping watch using his steel. So next we'll move to another carriage that comes to pick up Jenna Tekiel. And Jenna is helped into the carriage. Your bags are loaded, and you find your mother waiting for you in the carriage.
Jenna tries to put on as strong a face as she can. Hello, Mother.
I'm sorry, Jenna.
What of?
I think I've tried to shelter you too much.
Perhaps. Do you truly know what you have wrought, Mother?
I know that I have ensured that your brother holds the highest office in this empire below the Lord Ruler. I know that I've cleaned up the loose ends that I can, and that although there are things I regret and haven't come out as I planned, I've given you the best chance you have. Rule the greatest house in the final empire. And that's what you've always wanted. And that's all I've ever wanted for you. And you can tell she's not even mincing words. She just kind of assumes Jenna, Katrine, obviously, you get the sense that, Vasha might have reported back to her. She's obviously dispensing with, she knows
that Jenna was there too. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not, and she goes on to say, I'm not angry with you for interfering because it was my fault for not telling you. But I am disappointed that you thought it appropriate to get involved when I specifically said how important it was that we keep our name clean.
That's a lot. Yes, you've sure done a very good job of trying to keep things clean. Would you... Vasha, of course, had no issue with trying to kill me. And you really felt Maevis...
On my part, I suppose.
I wonder what else you've miscalculated. So you wanted Maevis dead?
She uncovered something about your brother.
Oh?
Something that would have cost us everything. And she rubbed my nose in it in that very party in front of all of high society. And we were this close, Jenna. I don't care that she is the daughter of my brother, who I still miss every day. She was willing to let you and me burn just so she could solve a little puzzle that she had concocted for herself. And so, yes, I took the action I needed to protect our family from her.
How dare you? You think you have it all figured out, don't you? Well, I know exactly what's going on, and, well, you've shown your true colors. And perhaps you have done some miscalculations yourself. But I suppose with Tavidian in charge, there's not so much I can do about it quite yet.
I understand you're tired and emotional. So I will let these tense words go. We'll talk about this more when you've rested and had time to recover. And she turns to just look out the window.
Is there any reason why I shouldn't just use my pewter to kill you right now? I know you'd sense it.
Sharply back to you at that point and says, with our man driving the carriage, you would surely be implicated. You'd be giving up everything. Do you really hate your mother so much for trying to ensure you get everything you've ever wanted that you'd be willing to throw it all away?
Hate is a strong word. I'm very disappointed in you, however. That you would so casually throw away everything I've been working for. That I need to be very careful about the alliances that I have when I become Lady Techiel. And you would just toss any of them away for House Techiel. I shall certainly note that. I suppose you are right.
Again, you're being emotional, Jenna. I think it best that this conversation be over.
For once, I think I'm thinking clearly for the first time. But yes, perhaps we should just let it be.
Does Jenna do anything else?
No, I think that's it.
The Techiel women spend the rest of the carriage ride back to Luthadel in a chilly, chilly silence.
Very pleasant.
Now we're gonna go to Lucius.
Yes.
Who, as you're getting ready to go, a servant approaches you and says, under their breath, very hush-hush, Lord Lucius, Lady Maevis would like to speak with you before you leave.
Very well.
Oh, she's alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, without even acknowledging, I'll just start walking over to the solar.
Okay. She's not in the solar anymore, actually. She's been moved.
Okay.
So the servant will lead you actually to Lord Solus's private study.
Oh, nice.
Where Maevis is. They've moved aside the desk and have moved her cot in there. So it's obviously, probably you get the sense for security reasons.
Yeah.
They tried to put her in kind of an unlikely place.
Yes.
And you get in and Maevis says, oh, Lucius, good. I was worried I wouldn't catch you.
Oh, May, I'd never leave one of these parties without saying goodbye to you.
Thank you, Lucius. I'm afraid I have a very big favor to ask you.
Anything.
I've heard the news about Tavidian.
Oh.
With him as Lord Prelan,
yes.
Even with Fascia dead, I don't think I'll ever be safe here. I need to disappear, Lucius. I need for everyone to think I did die. And I need to go away.
So this is goodbye.
I think it is. Or you'd be saying goodbye to me in another way, under worse circumstances. And I'm sick, Lucius. I can't be here anymore. It's too...
Maevis.
This is not a good place.
I understand. I'm struggling.
Yeah, fair enough.
I might actually cry. This is very sad for Lucius.
You wanted her to die.
Dying would have been easier than saying goodbye.
Honestly, it would be easier for sure.
I've like given Lucius built up this layers of terribleness built on his abandonment issues. And so he's gonna go cold. He goes cold, and he's gonna say, I understand. No, over the last 2 years, you've made it quite clear this life isn't for you anymore. And so, yes. Where do you think you're going to go?
It might be better that you don't know.
Maybe.
But I'll write, maybe. Or if things change, maybe I'll check in. But I do have 2 favors to ask of you, Lucius. If you would indulge me. They'll come looking for me if they suspect I'm not really dead. And I need you to ruin me.
Oh?
I need you to make my reputation so black that it doesn't matter what I know or think I know, that no one would believe me even if I were to start talking. The threat to them is Maevis Ilariel, because Maevis Ilariel is someone people listen to. If I'm not Maevis Ilariel anymore, then maybe I'll be more safe.
I think, Maevis, I think I'd happily do this for you. This is a lovely little parting gift.
And there's one other thing, but it's dangerous.
All of this is dangerous.
You can't let this get back to you, Lucius. It would put you in too much jeopardy. I uncovered a secret about Tavidian Tekiel. And I think if you get it into the right channels, eventually they might work to bring him down. And if he's removed from office, well, perhaps we can put all this behind us.
That would be nice.
And she's going to hand you a stack of papers and say, get this to the Inquisition.
Yes. I take the stack of papers. The Inquisition. It must be juicy. Maevis, I'm sad that you're going. I'm very sad you're going. But these last little two gifts you've given me. They soothe my soul. I'm gonna have some fun these next few months.
Please do, Lucius.
It's going to be grand.
People are going to be rubbing my name through the ash. I know you're the one who will do it the most creatively. And I look forward to laughing with amusement about what you come up with.
I have I'm a buzz with ideas. I've been given a new toy, Maevis, and the toy is your reputation. I am going to have the time of my life. I wish you all the best, all the health, and if Tvedian ever does get removed from office, I see a bright future for us.
I don't think I'll be able to say goodbye to the others, Lucius, but please tell Dear it's all water under the bridge for me, please. I don't want him carrying anything with him.
I can do that. And Jenna?
Jenna. Tell Jenna I'm sorry.
I think she'll appreciate that.
Okay. And with that, I think we'll move to Sylvain.
That was so good!
So, Sylvain, people are loading up their carriages. You're waiting for your turn out in the courtyard, and you see Addison supervising her own carriage. A terraceman is working and lifting some very heavy pieces of luggage onto the back of the carriage and is kind of struggling to get them in place. And she sees you waiting and kind of nods to you. Do you approach her?
I'm so sorry, Ian.
I'll say if not, she will approach Sylvain. So it's just a matter of who.
If her terraceman steward is having difficulty putting stuff on the carriage, Sylvain would go and help.
They're very, very heavy pieces of luggage, and there's a lot of them. So you help, you get them on the carriage, and she'll turn and she'll say, "Thank you, Sylvain. Again, I'm sorry about how everything turned out."
At least now I don't have to wonder.
I meant what I said, Sylvain. These aren't good people, and I don't think there's a place here for me anymore. I'm leaving, and I kind of doubt that we'll see each other again. But it was the only bright point in this awful experience, I think, was becoming your friend, and I hope we are still friends.
Always.
Well then, I guess. And she turns to the terraceman and says, "Say, Zed, are we ready to go?" And the terraceman says, "Yes, Lady Addison, we are." And Addison, to pull back the curtain a bit, is going to get into the carriage that is carrying some very heavy pieces of luggage, including some things that are being passed off as stained glass art that she's returning, but are in fact the very expensive, ornately decorated gown and mantle of Dianet Ilariel.
Ooh.
And later investigations will reveal that Loris Tenebrian was in debt to some Ska thieves, and connections were forged. And the persona of Addison Tenebrian was a fabrication by a stubborn but unconventional Ska thief named Mare to steal this very expensive outfit from the Ilariels.
Okay, something I do want to say. As soon as you read the thing excerpt from Maevis' dialogue,
oh my god.
Is she Mare? Oh my god.
And so I think that's where we'll end Diceborn Secrets and Stained Glass. Thanks, everyone.
How dare you, Matt? How dare you?
I do have one line. Is that Sylvain's final line to Addison?
Okay, go
Addison is live a happy life for me.
You too, Sylvain. And then I have one other thing to read, actually.
Yes.
No. Oh God.
Oh my God,
man. So to close things off as a nice little epilogue to the epilogues. I do not find your missive amusing, nor did I appreciate being thrust blindly into a deadly situation which should have been simple reconnaissance. Despite your abysmal service in this regard, I believe I have still achieved my objectives. Thank you, I suppose, for the tip about Maevis Ilariel's journal. Its contents were indeed illuminating. While I will always protect my family of birth, I did not steal breath from a Halandrine dream oracle or bargain with the dark witness of the Hidden Valley to save a single noble line from extinction. My primary concern is now for Scadrial as a whole, or perhaps the entire Cosmere. Scadrial will be consumed by mist and ash unless a new hero ascends. The old prophecies remain corrupted and are of limited assistance, so I've primarily relied upon my own dreams and other manipulations of fortune, connection, and destiny to interpret our murky future. I saw a woman born of Petrine and Ericor Tekiel's line ascend, and my other efforts confirmed the hero of prophecy would be present at Solace's Manor this weekend. I investigated the only individual who I believed fulfilled those criteria. However, in hindsight, thankfully, it wasn't her.
That's true. She'd be a bad choice. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'll be leaving the physical realm soon. I need to consult with the Eyrie on some new developments. I've located someone new to keep an eye on things while I'm away. Your services will no longer be needed. But if you decide to care about the future of our planet, I enclose an assembly of my various premonitions relating to the Hero of Ages, as well as notes on their proper interpretations. Take that as payment, you ungrateful, cowardly slime. Signed, Lady Dara Ilariel, the Seer of False Fortune.
Oh!
So, yeah, little note.
Matt, you terrible, awful, horrible.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been a little bit.
Yeah. We took a break off camera.
We took a little break.
Yeah.
We took a little break.
And during that, I realized, Mayor lets a member of the Ska Rebellion into the Ilariel Mansion. Marsh.
It's Marsh.
Yeah,
Marsh.
Marsh.
And I said to her, I was like, do you still, because she was like, oh yeah, he's Rebellion. And I'm like, well, do you still hang out with him? And she's like, no, because it was Marsh.
Are you still involved? No, I married his brother. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Screw you, Matt. It's so good, your Era 1 connections, and you just snuck it. Like, we were all just having fun doing these other things and being horrible, and you just snuck it all in.
You know, no one pegged that Addison Tenebrin might. We know in the books that Ska can impersonate nobility,
yes.
And we know Mare was quite good at it.
Yes.
That's why she has so many dice. Mare. That's why she's so overpowered.
Using the Mare dice. Of course. Is there a Mare stat block in the book? That's why she's a Tin-Eye.
She's a Tin-Eye.
Yeah. But I used Kelster's stat block though as a base because I figured him and Mare would be comparable skill level in lots of ways. So
I do have to say, like, as me, Sylvain based for hitting on Kelsier's wife. So thank you for doing that.
We were so nice to Mare. We will definitely have an after show where we fully talk about all of these crazy things. But screw you, Matt.
Yeah,
I hate you, but I love you. Yeah.
And because time is a little short for me today,
yes,
I do just want to say, I hope people enjoyed this mystery, and that the Easter eggs and that it wasn't too confusing. Also, part of the reason why I wanted to put someone like Mare into this is, again, the hero at the end of the story are people like her who are kind of working to like undo the system. And you know, good. Mavis, Dear, Jenna, Lucius, and to some extent even Eliane and Sylvain are complicated people, not necessarily heroic. And we've left them in kind of all ambiguous faces, these nobles. And I think that's kind of by intent and design. I didn't want to give them all these clean, happy endings because they live to varying extents messy lives. And it's still pretty messy for them. So who knows how they work things out and what things are like for them in the next 10 years that they have before the whole empire falls in around them. But,
Lucius definitely dies in the most embarrassing way possible. Like, I'm
100%.
I mean, I would not be surprised if Kelsier kills Lucius.
Yeah.
Kelsier personally kills Lucius.
Yeah, Mare's gonna go back and be like, there was this one guy. Oh my god. if he's still alive when Kelsey's doing his purges, he's definitely on the chopping block.
Top of the list.
It
was funny because things got a little dicey for Addison at some points, and I was very much like, he is the one character who I put here that you cannot kill. Everyone else you can kill. I like got all the other like NPCs out who I
Sylvain would not have let Addison die.
Good thing Addison was too crafty to do something too stupid there. So that's good.
I will say one last thing before I hand it over to Ben to close us off. Addison's traits, 2 of them, are resilient stubbornness and hidden streak of unconventionality, which are the traits that Kelsier in the books says Vin has in common with Mare.
Oh, that's adorable.
So that was a little thing in the background document that you guys could have...
Matt, you spent a lot of time planning this. Just like a lot.
Really did.
Like not just the mysteries, but all this stuff. It's so good. I hope this wasn't too confusing to everyone else, because there's a lot going on here.
Might need to put out the full family tree, if at all possible, because it's enormous. But
there's a lot.
There's like 200 characters in the family tree that Matt put together for this.
Oh, wow.
It's got in the bottom right-hand corner. It's like... It's enormous. But yeah, I did have as my first thing I wanted to say in my outro was a little round of applause for Matt for all the effort you put in for this, especially considering that you've got like a new baby. Like, but then also that might give you a little free time to do like stuff. I don't know.
It's been hit and miss.
Yeah, we got it recorded. We got it recorded before my wedding.
Yes. And so thank you very so much, Matt. This has been absolutely fantastic, and I want to say thank you to Alyx, Eric, Ian, and Verónica for playing this fun cast of characters in this game and being an absolute delight to be with.
To Grace and Alla for being prepped to potentially play.
Shout out to them because we had backup characters and all this kind of thing and backup people in case the scheduling didn't work. So shout out to them for the effort they put in the pre-planning, despite the fact that they couldn't take part. Thank you again to Crafty Games for providing us with the Golden Mandate content, which came up a little bit. We used it a little bit. I knew I should have used my locale ability to tell Noble from Scar. I knew I should have used it on Addison.
I needed that. I was like, that's how Lucius could have gotten Addison.
I'm like, I should have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our after show is gonna be like 3-4 hours.
Oh god,
We have
yeah.
so much to talk about.
For sure.
Oh man. So don't forget as well about this week's giveaway. We'll probably do a postseason live stream as well. I think we're going to record a post show and then also do a postseason live stream at some point just to talk about it because
we will do a live stream once you all have finally watched this.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll
answer your questions.
We'll answer questions and talk more about this very complicated web.
Yeah. Hopefully we can help untangle it if anyone's confused. But even if you're confused, I hope you still enjoyed it.
Yes.
Hopefully the editing that hasn't been done made it clearer.
Hopefully. So yeah, we'll be doing that. So look out for that, and then we'll announce the winner of the giveaway in that. And then you can find us at 17thshard.com for all your news, theories, discussion, and fun. You can find us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube. If you like your stuff, you can support us on Patreon. We also do things like Shardcast, which most people watching this probably know, but just in case you don't,
know.
But we have a podcast where we talk about Brandon Sanderson books. Yeah. We also have Span Reads, which I don't know if one is running right now.
I don't know when this is going to air, so probably
who knows?
maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. At some point it's coming back.
We have to record some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, yeah. We are originally recording like our main. I'm calling it the main season, but we should come up with a name for like the Era 2 thing. Season 2 we're recording.
You already have when this airs.
Yeah, we might have already come up with a name by the time this airs. Who knows? Oh yeah, that's horrible. We're really bad at naming things. So stay tuned for more and keep those dice rolling. Bye.
Bye.
I'm in love with Kelsier's wife.
Diceborn Secrets in Stained Glass is a production of the 17th Shard, set in the Mistborn setting by Brandon Sanderson. It uses the Mistborn adventure game rule set developed by Crafty Games, including a homebrew adaptation of playtest material from their upcoming nobility supplement, The Golden Mandate. Our story features performances by Ben as Lucius Lacal, Ian as Sylvain Hadriel, Alyx as Dear Venture, Verónica as Eliane Venture, and Eric as Jenna Tekiel. Backgrounds and overlays were designed by Connor Chamberlain, with character portraits by Ellie Scarter. We also need to give a special shout out to Marvin for his work on the other animations. And lastly, our eternal thanks to Alyx for her heroic efforts in editing and post-production. So, thank you for joining us. Brace a glass, and we'll race you to the bottom.